Here we are with another Saturday Night Live Zoom. December the 5th, 2020. And what a year it's been. We're making the run for the last month.
Oof.
Get ready for 2021. What's it going to bring? Whatever we want. If we keep focusing on that light, we will bring what we want. It's going to be a rough ride, I think, but we'll persevere and we'll continue because what else are we going to do? Watch Dancing with the Stars at night?
Oh, God.
You know, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening around. They're getting more and more strict up here. But at the same time, every time they make a move to get more strict, more of their cacas being revealed, more of the truth. Like there was a segment of one of the mainstream news, CBC here, that they mentioned about the total number of deaths and the total number of deaths. How do they put it? It was the total number of deaths in Canada. And this how many were in the old age homes, and then there was this many outside of old age homes. It was only like 167 outside of old age homes, and the whole country's locked down. Just think of that. You know what they did? In the middle of the night, they edited out that part, this mainstream news, and they took it off their clip.
Well, they don't report anything down here. That's why nobody knows anything. If you're not inclined to go look for any information, you will not find it. You will not hear it. That's why people are still in the dark, because they just won't look.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's the average, man, woman do? It's path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And this is what we choose in all things, in diets, in whatever lifestyles. We are programmed to choose the path of least resistance, and that's usually the path that leads us to self-destruct ourselves. If we think back before modern times where you had to go work for your food individually, there was no least resistance, or you wouldn't eat. Right? So that was to be put into difficult situations. That would happen on a regular basis, and you'd pull through because you had to do it, and it made you resilient and stronger, and that's the way it was. But now that we have everything programmed, and what's that? 4-3-2 backwards on there, right? We get everything handed to us, and so on and so forth, and we have a gazillion choices, to sit in our asses and just punch some keystrokes and not even move, get things delivered. Just watch TV or whatever. So it's quite a big difference from what a natural environment would tend to bring to us. But we as a collective, we know it's right. We don't have to really put much thought to it. What's right or wrong, what's the right thing to do. We all know what it is, but the path of least resistance is something that will overcome us because of our programming. The programming is so powerful that they can get the whole planet to do something very easily with something that's totally invisible, right? Just the fear, the belief system, whatever they can do, they can get the whole world to bow down. It's pretty interesting times. I never would have. We've talked about this for over 20 years, but I never would have believed it would have been this so easy for them to get away with what they're doing right now.
If I can share what scares me, it's when people start like pointing a finger at this they that wants to get you, you know, because I hear, oh, they, you know, it's the Jews, you know, it's the government, and my dad was, you know,
No,
a
it's
Jew,
the elites,
the
the ruling
government.
class.
And,
They do exist.
yeah. But I mean, people, you know, we've always done that. We've pointed fingers out, and then, you know, people have gotten killed, and people get, you know, and I like the idea that, you know, if there's life there, then, you know, there's a Buddha nature, you know, and it's up to me to develop the ability to communicate, you know, to not hate. Like one of the things I pray to believe is that people that are leaving the planet right now, you know, from the nursing homes and all, are the people that, you know, are wanting to leave, you know, or needing to leave, right? And the people
Exactly.
that I'm seeing who see
It's their time, right? Like
be staying strong. Yeah. No matter,
the most of the
you know,
people
people I
that
know who are peacemakers and are playful. Yeah.
yeah, you're cutting out a little bit, Barbara. Hello. Yeah, most of the people that are leaving this plane have
Oh, I stopped.
have a list of ailments. You know, and if you go to old age homes, I don't know how many people have visited old age homes. Um, they have these poor people on multiple pharmaceuticals, and as soon as you walk in, there's a stench in these most of these places, and that's the stench of death, right? It's very very obstructive physicalities, and you know, if we were able to go into an old age home and implement some basic principles of the new understanding, we would easily get 50% of them out of there in 30 days or so, easily. Just clean them up a little
Yeah.
bit and clean up their diets, you know. But this is not the agenda. So, yeah, the majority of people are in old age homes. Just with the numbers are out from the government. It's not we're making this stuff. It's and the ones that passed that were outside the old age home, they had a list of ailments as well. So you know,
Yeah, there, I mean,
it's
we can't really, Barbara, I totally understand. We want to focus um, you know,
I'm hoping to in my lifetime.
yeah, like on a good picture of what's happening. But the corruption has
Yeah.
been around for a very long time, and now what's happening? It's just being exposed, right?
Yes.
So it's okay. It's not very nice to watch, but you know the corruption has always been around, and we pray for the truth to come out, and the corruption to be over. So I mean, is it going to be completely over? It, you know, we'll just leave it up to God. However, so much truth is coming out, and we know there's so much corruption happening behind the scenes. It's very easy to see that. It's Yeah, I totally agree with you that we want to avoid pointing
Yeah.
fingers at especially at the people, because the people, you know, we are the people. Our families are the people.
I'm hoping to.
Our friends are the people, you know. And so
Yeah.
it's important we you know, we love each other and support each other and stand together for the truth as well, you know. Even our families and friends, you know, it's important for us to communicate with them and tell them to help us stand up for the truth. Why not? This is for our children. This is you know, for the young
Yeah.
ones. Even if we
I
don't
can't
have
see it.
kids, even if we don't even, you know, without kids, I still want to defend all the kids, you know, of you know, any kinds of from any country. We defend the kids. We stand up for the truth. We
Yeah. Me too.
make this place a better place, and for that, you know, we pray for the corruption to be stopped because it's just it's too much, and it's
Mhm.
not new.
But
It's always been happening. It's not new.
but
I'm
I
actually
I
happy. I'm happy it's happening. I'm happy finally the truth is being,
uh-huh.
the corruption is being exposed.
More
Yes.
than ever.
Uh-huh.
And,
I get that.
and for me, I am happy, but it's hard to focus these days.
It is hard to
Because,
focus.
yeah, um, because of what's happening, it's just too much corruption being exposed, um, and the media is still lying about it, you know. So it can be very challenging for us,
It
but we
seems
still focus.
Mhm. To me, whenever people are talking about this they,
Mm.
they, it's either the Democrats or the Republicans, but this they, with anger, and it's like, okay, do you know, like
Yeah.
who's the commissioner of the condo that I'm at, how to get people to
Yeah.
communicate
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
intelligently,
you.
humanistically. People are so scared. There'll be one person, start working together. So we're creating these greater schools where kids are outdoors and planting things, and they're happy and they're learning because they have passion and they feel safe.
Yeah,
I
I
think
totally
it's
agree with
it's
you that it's best to avoid saying they. Um, you know, However, the corruption is there. Who is responsible for it?
We are.
God knows.
No, we
God,
are.
Mhm.
yes, definitely we are. Eventually, we are responsible for it, and so we must come together.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it in me.
So, yeah, but without pointing fingers and saying it's this group of people or that group of, it's all of us. It's really all of us, right?
Well, not really, because it's morphed into one category of humans that are trying to control the planet. So there is an entity,
Yeah, and how to learn how to
and then you
communicate.
cannot have a conversation with a party that does not want to have a conversation. They have no interest whatsoever in changing their ways, in changing what they're attempting to do. So
Nope.
there's absolutely no communication possible with that.
That's what's
They
going on.
have their agenda that they're playing out, and that's the end of it.
Mm,
The reason is because they know they can't win.
Yes.
They're gonna go out screaming and fighting and whatever, right?
Mhm.
So we got to send them more pluff because it's going to affect them, whether you believe it or not. And that's why they're going out screaming and kicking and whatever else the hell they're doing, because we're continuously focusing on that.
we could plant
Sorry.
seeds. There's a show in public broadcasting. It's
What do you,
it's called On Being with Krista Tippett.
You keep cutting out again,
Yeah,
Barbara.
cutting out. Hello, Paula. Hello, Gino, Rana, Marco. Paul, I was on Fruit Run for a big chain grocery store with hundreds of people, all in masks except me.
On
Nope.
how to try
No one said anything mean, and a few women said,
to people that have people can talk to each other when they have very different views. And again, she has that seems to be the focus of the people she brings in, the speakers
that's strange.
she brings in. And sorry. And
You're cutting out, Barbara. We can't make out what you're saying. I'm in the middle of reading one of the
Paula's?
Paula's thing. Where was I? No one said anything mean, and a few workers said hi. I think most people at home saying you have to wear a mask to protect me don't realize that the workers have to wear them all the time or lose their job in most places. We must not wear masks as a group. Yeah, it's getting more and more strict up here anyway, because the cases keep going up. Cases. So it is what it is. But we'll put a disclaimer here. This information is against mainstream, and we're in a land of fiction, and we can talk about the fairy godmother and the fairy godfather and Santa Claus. And people can are old enough to make up their own minds and decisions in life. We leave it up to the individual to use their mind to believe whatever they want. um, yeah. So hello, Brittany.
Hi, Simeon. How are you?
Yes, and
How are you doing? And
Today is day 52. Full master fast. I think I'll go for 60. So doing good. Oh, well, okay. I should admit, I there's always something going on, especially when you're going this long.
it's all right.
No, I appreciate you guys.
There's
Yeah. So,
what's
Oh.
happening.
well, I'm still smoking.
Yeah, don't even worry about it.
Nah, don't go away from this one.
You sure?
Yep.
Just anytime people have tried to force themselves to quit, it never really happens.
Okay.
What day are you on?
52.
As your smoking increased, decreased, stay the same?
Decreased.
Okay. Because a few people that have gone through, they were basically forcing themselves to smoke. It was getting more and more difficult. That's why I'm asking if you decreased.
Yeah, I definitely decreased, and my body definitely responds as a result. I'm useless for the next half hour. After like not even half of a cigarette.
do you
And
enjoy it?
I think it's because the food cravings don't bother me so much. I mean, I've gotten to the point where like I remember mentioning about Thanksgiving to you guys, and it just wasn't even, I mean, COVID definitely squashed that anyway, but I didn't miss the food. I actually it was my the last time I was on it was last week when I was on Zoom with you guys. I was dog sitting at a friend's house, and of course it was right after Thanksgiving, so his refrigerator was just full of leftovers. And he was like, "No, help yourself. Go ahead." And I had zero desire. And it was funny because right after the Zoom call, I went right to his fridge, and I literally I smelled his food. I opened the containers. I smelled it. But there was no draw for it. It's just I knew exactly what was going to happen in my system if I indulged. Oh, it was going to be horrible. I knew I was going to mess
Oh,
with
yeah.
it horribly, So I'm not interested in doing that. So yeah, the smoke, I think it's something. I don't know what the smoking is, but I don't know. Part of me wants to get an ozone generator, teach myself a lesson, but that's probably not a good idea.
No, I wouldn't recommend that.
Oh,
Did it for the fruits and vegetables, for washing.
Yeah.
that's a tough nut to crack, let me tell you.
Okay.
That is hard, that is very difficult it's hard. I did it
Okay.
twice. I had to do it twice.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all. Other than that, the mirror of truth is it's ever present, in these when you get over 40 days. and you're constantly confronted with the opportunity to, you know, to stay the same or to shed the old self. So, but I'm grateful for the process, and you know, these calls are absolutely invaluable because who else am I going to talk to? So,
Yeah, yeah, the smoking, like honestly, don't put any energy to it. Um, when you have that urge to smoke for whatever reason, feel what it's doing,
mm,
the responses to your body. You'll become more and more sensitive to it. That's
right.
why, as I shared people that they were kind of forcing themselves because just through the habit, but the body was refusing. The body's saying, "What are you doing?" So pay attention to that, and the more you pay attention to it, the easier it will be to let it go. When it's time, it's time.
Get yourself maybe
Like
a miswak and just keep it in your mouth.
Oh, what is that? What? How do you spell that? Because I go to my health food store all the time.
So you find it on the Masterfast shop.
Oh,
Basically, it's like a dry brush. You dry brush your teeth.
Uh-huh.
This is ancient, you know. It
yeah,
has been used,
miswak. They have neem.
like
If-
Prophet Muhammad used to use it maybe before him too. So basically, it's from a plant, a specific plant, and it has these fibers. It's like a brush, and you just brush your teeth. You can find a few YouTube videos on how to do it, but it's so great. This is like, it's like going to a hygienist. You know, when you go and they clean your teeth and it feels so nice and smooth. It's the same thing when you do it for like 10 minutes. And you can do everything, your gums, right where your teeth meet your gums and the whole teeth, front, back. It just makes it so clean. But it takes about 10 minutes for me to clean my whole mouth. But the more you do it, the cleaner, like you'll feel it all the time clean. It's so nice.
Okay.
I love
Because
it.
I know I've been able to. Somebody recommended like definitely after my wet window of drinking juice. I think you guys recommended like 4 hours after drinking juice, but definitely in the morning before I have my tea and juice. I use brush with the activated charcoal and the bentonite clay.
Yeah.
And that definitely pulls things off my tongue. You know, the charcoal is going to coat your tongue, so you have to brush your tongue as well.
Mm.
But it
Charcoal coats everything.
helps with that, you know, the smoke or whatever. What's that, Steve?
Charcoal coats everything.
Yeah, I know.
Spilled
Especially
some on the floor. I'll never do that again.
It's terrible.
yeah, you gotta
I'll
be
tell
careful.
you, there's a trick to smoking that I learned in my experiences trying to quit.
Okay.
Is you have to change when you get to the point where you're going to quit. Whatever you were doing when you were smoking, you got to shift that. There's certain things that, like for me, I would stand in a certain in the shop when I was programming the machine in a certain position with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth, and I'd be punching the keyboard. I had it physically just shift a little bit, and it broke that trigger.
Yeah, there's a trigger for everything.
Yep.
Mm.
So notice over the next weeks, months, whatever it is, what the triggers are. So when the time comes, and I mean, it's a physical thing. It's not just a mental thing. It's a physical thing.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because when like for instance, I know that there's an energy, I know prana or whatever that comes with these, you know, these over 40 days, you start to sense that your body is actually gaining some natural energy. I wonder if I'm scared of it.
Yeah,
Because I know the smoking suppresses it.
yeah, smoking is obstructive, but not as much as some foods are.
Right.
That way.
Yeah, but don't forget that they're designed for the addictive.
Oh, yeah, that's for
They
sure.
put chemicals in there to hook your ass to them forever.
What day are you on, Simeon?
52.
52, okay. Wow, you said you're up there. Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah, maybe this, having it on your mouth almost all the time, just like that. Just keep it
Okay.
like that. Even when you're dry fasting, it's nice. Like you're
Essential
you're
oils?
sucking on your saliva. So just keeping it in your mouth, I think it's gonna keep you busy from putting the cigarette in your mouth.
There's some essential oils you can try different ones and see if they will pull you away from the trigger. You know, just if you get the sensation to smoke, just have a whiff of the oil, and see if that helps you. Just go online and punch in which ones help people for quitting smoking.
Okay.
There's so many. There's hundreds,
You have to make the decision first.
of course,
Right.
and then go through the
That's
motions.
2 hours, that's it. The physical is broke, I'm telling you. Any addiction.
All right. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, don't put any thought to it though.
Nah.
Just make the decision that you want to smoke. It's like to stop smoking. Like some people, they enjoy smoking. They love smoking.
That was one of them.
And that's why it's
Two
difficult.
packs a day for a couple of decades.
Wow.
A lot. If I went out drinking and cocaine, it would be 4 packs a night.
My goodness.
And I'm still alive.
You're still alive. My goodness. Wow.
So I would go buy a case of beer, 4 packs of cigarettes, quantity of cocaine, and go to the bar and start
Amazing.
and go for about 12 hours. That's about a 12-hour period.
Not many people would be able to survive that.
Every freaking week,
Like on the
every
weekends?
Friday night, every Friday or Saturday night
Wow.
for 20 years.
Wow.
Hmm.
It's another era.
Another life.
Another life.
Just shows you what the body is, how amazing the body is. And the abuse it can take.
Yeah, like I said, not everybody would be able to live through that, especially not the new generation now. Their genetics are much more weaker,
Terrible.
and just, you know, it's just insanity what's happening. But what do we have here?
Hi, Brittany. Sorry, you asked a question. Yeah, the brush is called Miswak, and you can find it in the shop.
Thank you a lot. Sorry, I was trying to unmute. That's beautiful. Yeah, it looks so like they're just beautiful things.
It
Sorry, I'm like,
helps.
you know, yeah, I like that though.
Do you want to read?
I'm having like weird like talking things right now, I think, because I haven't been on here in a long time and like my stomach's doing some weird things, but they're for like dry brushing, like your teeth mainly?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's like a brush. It cleans better than a brush,
Oh.
but it takes
I-
a while to.
Okay, thank you. And like, oh wait, never mind. Because I had another question, but I think I figured it out. I like got like a balance in my system today because it was like like I was having stuff like moving upward, and so I like corrected it, and then I actually came here because I needed like IV fluids briefly, and they actually listened to me. Like I told them what was going on. I told them about fasting, and I told them like for the first time like was really actually trying to connect with these people like in a way where I like understand what they can't see, but also was just being completely honest with them, and they actually like were listening, and they're like, I don't know, the like mainstream system is like waking up to things that people are going through, and also the lifestyle that you have talked about, even if it is things with like admitting that there's like imbalances or that things with like parasites. I only mentioned briefly today, but I didn't really talk with them that much about it, but they actually are like listening. The only thing that's kind of funny is like I have to like talk quietly because like I wanted to just go. I saw the Zoom and I wanted to go on, and there was this lady because I took my mask off because I haven't been wearing it, and I was sitting there just like writing in my journal. She's like, you gotta have that up over your nose. And I told her, I was like, if I have breathing problems, can I take it off? And she's like, no, you need it over your nose. So I just turned around and I'm facing the wall instead. When they come back, I might put it on, I might not, but I don't know. I'm just grateful for all of you because I'm just grateful that I'm alive. And I'm grateful to the herbs. I'm even grateful to the people here because like I meditated a lot and I prayed before I came here today because I used a lot of herbs today, and like I did a cleanse and I actually was kind of able to get a lot of relief. But then I was having a little bit of other issues. So I decided to like come and just talk to somebody as well. And it's just different this time around. And I realized that like when my energy goes up and like there's like a balance that kind of comes to me because the doctor was sitting there and he's like, there is like a fluid like buildup in your intestines. He said like, he said, I actually don't discount your story of like the root of it. Cause I told him about my diet too and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, but at the same time, we do think that there's something going on with you. He said like, when you're eating, are you gaining weight at all? I said, no, like, but I haven't been for the past few days. And I was afraid to tell them that at first because I was like, oh, they're gonna be like, oh, you're not eating, we have to put you. But I actually told them, I said, listen, like, it's not even just that I have a value towards like fasting and detoxification. It's just a matter of like what I'm going through right now based on my own past choices is that like not eating and doing liquids and stuff like that is actually helping me be like what I have going on with me. And they actually were not closed off this time. They actually wanted to understand and were actually intrigued by it. Because I think in some places people are realizing there's a lot of people I know that are really opening up in their soul, like in terms of like blossoming through these paths that we always talk about. And the system here is starting to realize that it's seeing people that are either sick or well or whatever. And it is like realizing that it has to learn information that it's been denying and discounting for a long time. Like I was mentioning like fasting and then like rebalancing or even something like SIRS just before to like one of my doctors. And she said, in all honesty, like she said, I think that it's interesting to think about. And I just want you to know that like, I actually want to have answers for some of the things that you're going through and some of the things that you're learning, but I wasn't trained about any of it. And she said, and honestly, I'm starting to wonder why right now. And so I actually was like writing some resources like for them and also mentioned like MFS briefly, but I had to explain it like in a way where they wouldn't be like, oh, what are you doing that for? Like you have to kind of make a bridge between the people. And it's like, I don't know. It's just interesting. There's a lot more I want to say, but I'm still like not fully in balance. But I think that people, even doctors, are innately like good and they have good intentions. And some of them like honestly want to understand this stuff. They've just kind of been told how to do a certain thing. But I've actually seen some of them changing when you talk to them from the heart, because it's not about the head, it's about the heart. And you're talking to people and I'm like rambling a lot and it's just kind of like
Most
spiraling.
people want to be doing the right thing and they're inherently good. But when we put people against the wall in a corner, they're going to do things they normally would not to survive. And that's what's happening for a long time now. And, doctors do what they do. They know what they think they know because of their training. And it's not, yeah, that they're bad people. That's there's bad apples in every basket, but um, you know, the system's
Mm.
been designed in a way that I don't agree with because
Mhm.
um,
It's okay. There's corruption everywhere. So, healthcare system is one of them.
Yeah. And I
Corruption.
think, as naive as it sounds, like I think through the heart of like, because I have my errors. Like I've done a lot of things wrong, but it's moving forward and like carrying through. And I think that it might sound naive, but I see the future. I see it changing. I think I see people that are a part of it and like really good souls, like questioning a lot of things. And I do see that like there's, us to honor what path it is that we found, like where the truth actually lies. But I also do see that like as we do that and then come back around and like encounter other people that are either suffering or unaware, like one by one people are shifting. And
Yeah,
it's really,
people
really
are changing.
beautiful to see.
Yeah,
yep,
yeah. Lots of changes with the corruption and being exposed.
we're in an age of light and knowledge and
Mhm.
clear vision we're in. So um, more and more people will
Oh,
be
no.
awakened.
Oh,
Yeah, it's great. Okay, so Nathan,
Hi, Nathan. Arizona's got it figured out.
while
Wild and free down here. Love you guys so much. Starting next round tomorrow to prepare for the 21st. Feeling really good after the lifestyle I've been living the past month. Awesome.
Good.
Awesome. Sounds great. Uh, Marco, Vesta, hello. Hello, dear people. Since I'm mattered,
Brittany, I was just so touched by what you said.
okay,
Your,
go
your
ahead.
it's not
communication
reunion.
skills.
I don't know why.
Hello, dear people. Since I'm master
Just,
fasting this year, almost
really catch
all relationships I had fell away. I had a slight panic attack today of feeling alone, isolated a bit. Yeah, that happens when people fast, and had to cry deeply about the people who fell away. Just want to share this. Yeah, you'll see that because you're at a different field strength and they don't feel comfortable around there in their physicality around the higher field strength. So they will make themselves not available to you.
Yeah,
That happens naturally. And no reason resisting it because you don't want that energy in your life. They're moving away and it's for a purpose for you to grow.
can I say something about this? So I believe it's very important for us to, to transform in a gentle way. Okay, so that these relationships,
For some people,
so that
most people.
these relationships, um, gentle is always better, in my opinion. I
For some
haven't seen
people,
I haven't
no.
seen force to work for anyone. So transforming slowly, so that, because so many changes are gonna happen if you do it fast. Okay, so do it slowly, so you adjust to the environment, and that environment adjusts to you too, right? The people adjust to you too. It's very important to work on your relationships. Every relationship is challenged, and when you fast, you will see you'll become a little bit impatient, and then go ups and downs, through ups and downs, and you will really feel a lot of things. And this is an opportunity for you to work on these relationships. And ending them is really unnecessary, in my opinion. I I believe it's very important to work on relationships, whether it's your family or your partner, life partner, your husband, your wife, I avoid divorce. I believe it's important to try to avoid it at all costs, just where you are in each other's lives for a reason, right? So when you face your mirror of truth, work on that instead of running away from it. That's my opinion. So do your best. And it's important to transform gently so that it's not a huge transformation, like a big mirror of truth on your face. When you do it slowly, it's, in my opinion, it's always better for you, but also for the people around you. Because too much of a change is too much for you and for them.
Yeah, it's mostly because of the people around you, or especially a partner. That's the biggest challenge when you go through massive changes. Um, that's
But
what
also
I've seen the last
parents and siblings,
31 plus years. Yeah, but I mean, it's
you don't live
family
with them.
members in general,
Yeah,
but like
the
your
people you live with.
partner,
Yeah.
that's going to be, biggest challenges, emotions. Everybody's got their 2 cents worth. You're losing too much weight is the biggest thing. You look like you're dying. You have food disorders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it goes
Too
on.
emotional, maybe, and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, if you're going through healing reactions,
Like crying or whatever.
and they think you need to go to the hospital, and they may force you to go to the hospital. We've seen all kinds of everything happen. So the hospital is the last place I'd want to be myself, especially today.
Yeah.
But everybody has to make those choices for themselves. They do have a purpose. Hospitals do have a purpose.
Yeah.
So if you
Emergencies.
need to use it, don't be shy to use it. That we have so many tools that when you gain the new understanding, if you have done a lot of your homework, you will have a little more faith because of all the different experiences of many people that have gone through similar things. And that's why it's so important to do your homework, read, watch videos, join us live calls. Because if you're just jumping in on your own by just doing a little bit of reading, you're going to have no clue.
Yeah,
really.
you want to read, you want to collect everything, and then start. Regardless of how excited we are, make sure you know what you're doing. 5 years ago, 5.5 almost years ago, when I started, before Facebook, there was a website, and the protocol was very like, it's more clear now, So I read it, I studied it, actually made notes, and I asked Gino a question, and he's like, read the protocol again. That's 5.5 years ago, guys. Before it was written, in an organized way, and so yeah, and he's like, so I kept reading it, and then I started teaching him the protocol.
It's when you
Yeah.
Yeah.
you don't need some people feel they need the whole discussion on some one little aspect of a protocol, and you really got to move away from details. It's so simple, and the more energy you put, the more you're going to be confused.
Initially, it's okay.
It's okay. No, put the time and energy to understand what you need to do, and that's
at
it.
the beginning. You want to know the details, do things properly, because you lack the experience that he has. For him, it's like, oh, it's very clear. For me, even though I studied cleansing and detoxing before I met him, it was not very clear for me. Some things they were very clear for him. I mean, many things in life. He will, when he talks, he would say it's very clear. I'm like, for me, I want to learn more. I don't understand what you're saying. So, yeah. So it's just different. I mean, he has more experience, right, than me in life in general.
From Biwu, why they go away from you because you do not eat with them? No, that's sometimes when you fast, if you're with people who are eating, I got the sense a lot of times that they feel resistance more than we do.
Yeah.
So we got to make them feel comfortable. And if they start asking, you got to kind of shift the subject and, let them forget about, let them enjoy their
And
food.
guys, when you're doing these short master fasts, okay, as a lifestyle, you're gonna be eating some days. So make these days the days you eat with your family and friends.
Yeah, like if you're used to meeting on weekends, use those times for your times you eat.
Yeah,
If it's
and
during a week, do it at that time. So it makes it easier
and
to be
and
around with people.
and something that helped me when I did raw food, I actually listened. This was from a video of I watched pretty much everybody who did raw food back then, 7, 8 years ago. And one thing, one raw food is said, because raw food is also hard, when you change your lifestyle completely and you want to go and eat with your family, they eat everything. So one thing was that she would bring food for everyone, like raw food dish for everyone. And that made it so much easier for her. So she doesn't have to worry about the food she's going to eat for them. So they don't have to worry about her. And also this way they get to try her food if they want. So that's a big tip, and it really still works until today. Wherever I go, I asked if I can bring food, and I bring food, and we eat it, and I, it doesn't feel bad the next day.
Yeah, always.
Once in a while, you can eat their food as well. You can try a little bit of their food, but maybe it's better not to eat completely. Like a whole meal of fat and oil and and salt and and grains maybe. So maybe it's best not to do that. To avoid these meals and just to prepare.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole emotional aspect is the biggest challenge of changing your lifestyle. When you change your lifestyle, also the personality will change. And that's why,
To the better.
yeah, people will, not be happy with whatever reason, because they kind of were used to the old you. So there's many, many, many different aspects, but it always goes back to emotion. And the eating thing is a very important part in the many people's lives. It's not the food itself, but it's the social aspect more so than anything else. So that's why as fasters need to learn to make it easy to be around people who are eating if we're not eating at that time, and just do what you have to do. If you can't handle it, then avoid it for a while until you feel more comfortable.
I would avoid focusing on people not happy for me for changing. Um, it's okay. I wouldn't say people are not happy about me changing, but maybe I must learn how to communicate with them better. Like take responsibility for their reactions and how they feel. If they feel that, maybe it's just something you think they feel. Um, so yeah, make the best out of it. Make the best out of it and be positive about it. Because you know what, we are people and we do care about each other. Yeah, sometimes you have bad feelings towards each other, but for the most part, we really care about each other and focus on that part. Your parents love you so much no matter what, even if they show you, um, you know, whatever they criticize you or this or that, they still love you so much, and what makes them happy is seeing you happy. So that's your parents, and then your partner as well. They want you to be happy. They're happier when you're happy. So at the end of the day, we really all care about each other. We do have negative feelings sometimes, but for the most part, it's positive. And focus on that. Everybody wants you happy, so just take care of yourself and be happy.
What's been happening these last 8 months or so has made it a lot more difficult for many people because of all the different, um, pressures from what's going on with finances and
And staying at home,
businesses and et
staying at
cetera,
home
et
for the
cetera.
first time for so long,
Yeah,
spending more time with each other.
there's so many aspects, you know, and you know, they know how to bring division. They know how to do it. They know how to push all the buttons.
Gino, we can take that as an opportunity.
No, I'm just saying that they know what they're doing, and it's working, right? Because
Very well.
that's the attacking the family unit. They just continued that from decades ago, and
Mhm.
they've mastered it. You know, divorce industry is massive.
Yeah, the families have been
Massive.
broken a long time ago. And now I feel like this is an opportunity. People are spending more time than each other than before with each other, even the kids with their parents. The mirrors of truth are so much more than before. And you can take that as a chance to work on these challenges, or you can say, oh, they destroyed my family.
Yeah, people point fingers, but at the same token, you know,
Yeah.
spousal abuse has skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's too much of
Suicides have
it's too much
skyrocketed.
of a mirror of truth.
Antidepressant prescriptions have skyrocketed. You know, people are not living a balanced lifestyle. So what do you think is going to happen when you bring more pressure, more challenges?
Mm-hmm.
People are going to fall apart.
They were already
There was
challenged.
that 11-year-old boy. He committed suicide on a live Zoom class, school class. He committed suicide. He shoots himself. You don't think there's a problem going on out there? Okay.
Oh yeah, but that's from before COVID, right?
No, this is recently.
I mean like the problems at home.
Of course. And this just amplifies everything. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing is what I'm saying. So we have to, for that poor, child to blow his head off, let's elevate his soul to peace, balance, and correct conduct through, so he may soar through all the universes for perpetuity. Like this is just, look at the level that we've got to as a human race. It's not acceptable. It's just, we need to change. And
Shows you how sick society really is,
yeah,
and how wrong we've been living for
we've
centuries.
been all living a lie. We've all allowed this to happen.
Yep.
If we don't look in the mirror and see this, and we're not taking responsibility, then we're just part of the problem, right? So it's not my problem. I didn't do that. Oh yeah, what do you mean? we all have to take our portion of the blame. Each and every one of us, we are all responsible. And until we come to that realization, that's the only time we're going to start making those changes to move out of that, and continuously focus on the fields of Plath for all our brothers and sisters around the world, because this is what it's all about. The fields can overcome anything. One little candle can light all the candles on the planet. One little candle. And we continuously focusing on that light. That power of the light is infinite. There's
Guys,
no limits.
so okay, there was a song last night. I was sitting outside and I thought of you guys, and it's actually called One Little Candle. It's really pretty, and I'll sing it for you one time, but it was just kind of a cool synchronicity.
Sing it now.
Okay. They're all gonna, no, it's okay. They're all gonna hear me. I don't know. If
They might stick you on the third floor. I'd be careful.
They might think I'm a. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sing. They're gonna think I'm a lunatic. Should I do it?
It's up to you.
It's a pretty song. I don't know how I can sing right now because I'm like, my stomach's doing stuff.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I want you to keep talking about what you were talking about because it was really powerful.
Yeah,
I'll sing.
we're in a very difficult, challenging time now. We will overcome this evil. I don't know what other word we can use because it's evil.
It has always been around. Remember that.
Of course, but now they've
Time to wake up.
they've multiplied their forces and energies to complete their agenda, which they've been working on for decades, hundreds of years.
Gino, one thing I must say. We take full responsibility for this.
I just said
Because
that.
the faith in our hearts, in our homes, is lacking. How can you have peace outside your home? peace at home is lacking in most homes. And that is what we take first and foremost responsibility for. Not the whole society. The whole society, okay, that's another responsibility. But the home, most homes are broken. Most homes are broken.
By design, though. By design.
By design, I hear you. I hear you. People got
It
trapped.
makes it easier for people to fall in that
Okay,
trap.
okay.
Yes.
By trap, okay. It's a trap. However,
Oh, yeah,
people got distracted and they fell in the traps
absolutely.
from the truth. They know the truth in their hearts and they must take responsibility for that. And that's connecting to God.
and
That's
this-
being
Yes.
religious and spiritually religious. Okay.
Sure.
And I love that. I really love to see people connected, disciplined, really disciplined to connect, to pray, making time to pray, make it before they eat, they thank God. Like all these little disciplines that are very important. Like not spending so much time watching TV. That's your responsibility, even before COVID. Like the parents and the kids, it's a responsibility for the family. They must, it's really,
Oh.
yeah.
Look what they're doing to the Catholics all over the planet. They're being exterminated.
It's crazy.
So it's a little deeper than, it's part of the agenda.
Yeah,
We
they want to
must-
remove God
We
from
must support
everybody's
each other.
lives.
The religions, we all must support each other. They try
Of
to
course.
divide us. No, we are all praying for one God, and let's keep that love.
Oh, I believe that too, but,
It's very important.
very important.
I had a question. Like I know that on my first MFS, and this exposed just other things in my life too. Like I know people have difficulty with fast and things like that. And they don't I mean, like you were saying, it's good to plug into the group and, post or search for the things that you're dealing with. Because someone may have gone through it and they faced the mirror of truth and they found a solution and they were able to find those solutions at a higher field strength. And so the experience that they shared has been a help to others. Now I'm curious, and because I know perhaps maybe you guys have seen this or experienced this. When people aren't finding, or if they aren't plugging in, number one, but they're not finding the support that they're looking for, and they turn to people that don't know about MFS, or is it, I don't, because I know, I'm not sure where it came from when I did it, but there was a part of it that wanted to let people know, hey, I'm improving my life. Hey, look at what I'm doing. Hey, look at this. And of course, the answer that you're going to get is just confusion from people who don't know about the lifestyle or still, have a strong addiction to food. And I wonder, and I feel for other people that post about, the reaction that they get from family, because I mean, I know myself personally, what do they call it? I keep my cards close to my chest. I don't talk to anybody. I don't like talking to people about what I'm doing.
Best way.
Yeah, and that's what I do. So I wonder, and I know everybody's not like me, but I wonder if, where that comes from for folks who just feel they have to tell as many people as possible, and they just end up with more confusion around them.
I know what you mean, because when I started 31 plus years ago, you want to tell the whole world.
Excited.
Yeah.
Excitement.
Same thing when you get sober.
But yeah, but what happens, it starts, the excitement starts going away very quickly when you find out you're being rejected over and over and over and over again from people you want to listen to it.
Very quickly, maybe years.
Whatever, a few years. But that excitement actually never went away for me, because I know what I went through, and so it didn't matter what their opinion meant to me. So that's where, when there's that knowing, that's going to overpower what anybody else says. Because if you allow what anybody else says and their opinion to affect you, then that's your choice. But you don't have to allow it. It's like, somebody's down and under. You're going to let that affect you?
No.
Yeah, it's your choice if you want to let it affect you, or you just carry on and keep being happy that day. So there's there's no one answer for everybody, but I find that if we look at how people in general have been doing things since the beginning of time through socializing and so on and so forth, that's the best way to maintain
Like community support,
a community support. That's the
Yeah.
best way to maintain.
like a church or a mosque, or like I feel these are very, very, like, seriously, because it's similar goals, it's deep. Or maybe community for master fast, or people who are doing similar things as a lifestyle.
There's few people that will need to be on their own, and that's it, because that's the type of people they are. But most people need to be in social aspects for that support, and that amplifies the faith, because what
It's
is
the
it?
faith at the end of the day.
The sum is greater than the total, and so it's just like anything else. People power.
Yeah, it's about the faith at the end of the day, like
Mhm.
strengthening that faith in something that you're doing.
I look forward to every single
trust.
call that we do. I look forward to it.
Oh.
I never, there's never a time where I forgot about it. It doesn't happen. It's always
it's
looking
a-
forward to the call. Who can we connect with next call, next call, next call? And that's it. And just keep going. Because this is a lifestyle. It's not an event. I've never taken it as an event since I read Arnold Ehret's book 31 plus years ago. I knew it was a lifestyle. It clicked for me. Bang. It was just reading that book once, and then I read it again and again and again over the years. But
and Steve has broken the record for showing up.
so yeah,
Suit up and show up.
anything that has big rewards is going to be effort. There's going to be a lot of effort to put toward it to get the big rewards. Nothing comes easy with that has big rewards. So we have to put a little bit of effort each day. We get up, put our feet on the floor, be thankful, and make your choice of how you want to live that day. And that's it. And just carry on. Eventing, yeah, we've seen magical things happen, but when those mirrors and those demons pop up, where are these people? Where are they? Got a handful of them that are bashing us. So
Yeah.
after they've transformed, so we elevate their souls. It's okay.
Yeah, staying connected is important.
It's just interesting. The things that have been happening the last 5 years have been very interesting. So in social media, that's for sure.
So much to
But,
learn.
Yeah.
So much learning.
We're here for the people who are ready, and it's always going to be the few of the few who choose, massive fasting as a lifestyle, fasting in general. We like the definition of master fasting because the old definition is so corrupted, just like anything else. We use new words and new definitions and themes, so we don't have to get confused with what other people have associated with it. Just like the word love, how much corruption there's to that. People getting beaten up and they love each other. That's not something I want to be associated with. So, plasma love always flowing. That's what I'm connected with. It's always in motion. It's always flowing, and it's touching everybody's heart continuously. And that's what I want to be connected with. I don't want to be connected with the old stuff and the old gazillion meanings of whatever.
Work.
Sorry?
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Otherwise,
There's only
we'd all
one
be in
way.
peace.
There's only one way.
If it worked, we would not be having any conflict, and we don't have any thieves, murders, and so on and so forth. With no wars, so it hasn't worked. So we have to develop a new system that's going to work for us. And the old system cannot be fixed because You try patching up, you can only patch up things so many times, and it's irreparable after. And that's what I see, that the system that we have in place now around the globe, whatever system is there, none of them work. Communism, socialism, Democrats,
Yeah,
none of it works.
in my opinion, the only thing that works is for us to be the change we want to see. And then this will change our governments when we become the change.
Emotion.
The tribes that are still living in peace in harmony with the planet, that's what works. That's what's still working.
To live in peace and harmony
The
with
tribes, you said?
Yeah, you got, the tribes in the Amazon, the ones that still exist on the planet.
Yeah, the few.
yeah,
That's what works.
from each other.
What do we got here? Dustin, order following leads to immortality. Yeah, the order takers are part of the problem. It's it's always the people who didn't obey were the ones that made massive changes in history for the better, for the better. The order takers are just taking orders. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. When you know something's morally wrong, you should stand for your morals over and above anything else. But that's the problem. People will sell their own mothers because of a paycheck or whatever else to save their own asses. And that's why we are sitting where we are now. Brittany, you have your hand up again?
Yeah, I was thinking about like earlier today, I had like a slight argument with my boyfriend, and I remember like the thing that really came out through me was it's the idea that you can like lift or like, I wouldn't say kill because I think it's all within us, but between love and fear, like you can heal a moment, you can create a universe out of even like the worst situations just by choosing love rather than like for instance today I had a pain and he felt powerless and he said, so I just need to like ignore everything because I can't deal with it. I said, well, I can deal with it. I said, it's not on you to deal with it. I think honestly, love is the only way. I think that if there's fearless love, it's like there isn't really anything that can stop that force, but then the opposite force of it can make life or death. And that's what I really believe. And I feel that there was one point in my journey where I felt like, okay, well, these things that I'm going through are my own responsibility and my own repercussions to deal with. And there's some purpose in them. And it's like a balance between like, there is a purpose in like everything we go through, but sometimes it's also just a matter of like the balances, like what's out of balance and what's in balance. And it's not some mystical fairy tale, like fantasy, like elegant story. Sometimes it's literally just the balance of energies working in the universe just as a fact. And it's almost like I think combining that free will and that imagination along with just pure cause and effect and mirrors is there's something really huge that society can shift with that. And I found it just by talking to a nurse earlier when she was saying like this weight that you have, like you're not really concerned about that, right? She said, because I don't gather that you are. I said, I'll tell you something. I've been at times in my life where I was very tiny, this kind of size with a completely different body composition, with completely thick hair and complete vitality and a perfectly working body. And for my own personal reasons and imbalances and blueprints that developed in my body, I'm very far away from that state right now, but am still holding the same standardization of mass that you would want to measure to see if I'm okay or not. So what I want to tell you is that there's an alchemical like symphony that's created in every person's journey of suffering and of ascension and of coming through and of our own shadows and our own light. And you can't standardize it by a number, but you can seem to get a grasp on it through a balance of the, like what Einstein said about imagination and the science of how the universe works and the heart. And it was interesting because like this lady said to me, she's like, it's, you know, it's strange because she was like saying that like in one of my pictures when I was 20 years old, I looked like I was like 28, and right now I look like I'm like 15. Then I said to her, it goes to show that the way we're measuring time and the way we're so obsessed with time in this existence proved that our system was programmed for self-destruction. And I can't say that this is my purpose, that I'm going through this, because healing and coming through it, the other side is going to do something really beautiful for the world that I don't even know yet. I can't even say that that's a thing. It's just, it can be a choice that I make. It can be something that I choose to adopt, because it's just, there's so much I want to say about it, but the words aren't really coming out right now because I feel, as naive as it sounds, and maybe this is just my belief system, but I feel like source creation, for whatever reason, and my own silly decisions, if I can make it through this, as I can make it through this, made this situation unique to me, the way my body is responding to the astrological occurrences, my own choices, bad patterns, good patterns. Because there's going to be something about coming through it that is going to have a means of doing away with the old system and explaining to them kindly where we're going and why everything that looks is not what it seems. It's not what it looks like. Things are not what they look like. Because anybody that meets me a lot of times will say that I have this glow and I look perfectly vibrant. And the thing is that what this path is, and what all of you represent, and what I think represents like the heart of all of like what it means to actually honor the conduct properly, defies everything we thought we knew about how we can measure time and how we can measure the human race. And there's a purpose in all of this. I know that there is. And I think that's why I'm still here. And at the same time, it's also up to every choice and decision that I make. Because there's a code inside this, like things people didn't want to acknowledge, things that they were refusing to acknowledge. And many people who are beautiful souls that were going to spend their whole lives enslaved to this do what you're told kind of mentality and don't ever do anything outside of it, because there's no thinking for yourself and there's no hidden truths in this matrix that we're living. People are waking up and they're starting to realize like that they can't label things the way the system has told them to label them anymore. It's just really interesting. I think that the thing that gives me peace at the end of the day is like mistakes or struggles that I've gone through and chosen, like the experiences that I've chosen. If you can make some sort of like alchemically transmute that into a beautiful, loving purpose, then it was worth it. It's just a matter of actually doing that. I don't really know what I'm saying. Like I kind of know what I'm feeling about it, but I don't know how to put it into words. So I don't know. It's just been really, really beautiful to recognize that like being the healer, being the sacred prayer dancer, being the student, being the prideful teacher, being the one that takes care of others, that gets taken care of, and also being the person that is like, I have to say this quietly, but the one who has all the ducks in a row and is doing a million things at once and then a million things gradually, like balancing a bunch of credits, and then also being the person that was the homeless person, that was like the axe murderer inside the body, that would never actually hurt another person, but can understand why all those people in every walk of life do what they do, recognizing that it's just because of this peace, balance, and correct conduct, and this coming together of the truth that is needed why all of those different personalities and characters exist in this story.
And we're all
It
part of
just
it.
makes a lot of sense. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't.
Yeah, well, we are all part of all that, all man's emotions, all women's emotions on this planet.
Hmm.
You know, how crazy and sick some of the stuff is. It exists. It's inherently a part of all of us. We can't be separate. It all comes from creator, creation. So how can we be separate? What people choose to do with their free will is gets interesting. But intent and emotion is creation, and this is we can see it very clearly even in the animal kingdom of how it all plays out. Dog eat dog. It's direct reflection of what humanity is, gone to. And we can change it. We can change it. We could see the lion laying with the lamb, and it could be
You
done.
know, I thought of something like it was just a metaphor, but then I got thinking about a bunch of other things. I think the whole significance of like the parasite idea, something came to me the other day that I read when I was a kid where Yeshua was on the cross and he says like out into the universal, he says, I'm not a man, but a worm. And then we think of things like wormwood and like the bark of a tree and the cross of a tree. It's like, the parasites are there to basically show us what we've created versus what we were always given and what was always right, what we decided we thought we could. When man thinks that he can create better than the divine can in certain ways,
Yeah, the
there's a
parasites
lesson that comes with that.
are there doing the job that they were designed to do. So if they're showing up, what's the reason? What's their purpose? To take things back to where they came from, right?
To clean up.
Mhm.
And if
And
they're there, then you have to ask questions.
and then we want to remember as well that we have more parasites than human cells in our bodies.
Bacteria.
Yeah, parasites in general. Bacteria, fungus, worms, you name it. And that's fine. That's fine. You just want to understand that this is creation. Your body would cease to exist without them. They're just part of you.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about like there are parasites that feed on your waste, and these are the ones that you you want to balance your body so that they their job is finished, and they would leave you.
And dirt ain't dirty. Man's thoughts are dirty. So nature.
Your blood work looks good. Your electrolytes, your everything looks okay. And
Okay. Hi, Tatiana. How are you?
I'm good. So nice to see you.
So nice to see you too.
I'm using the GANs.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in like an aroma diffuser in this room.
The water, right?
I put some of the water, yeah, some of the water in.
Awesome. And yeah, maybe make the pads and put them on your ankle.
Yes, we'll make the pads.
Did you make them?
You're amazing. I know. I will. Yeah.
Yeah. They're easy. They're easy.
Yeah, you make a small one, put it like under your foot, and make it one twice the size and wrap it around the ankle or something. So you have a field interaction. Simple.
Yeah, plasma magicians. I'm so touched by your your care. I don't think we really grasp the depth of it, but we feel it. Thank you.
We got to learn to be responsible and never give up and know that everything is possible, and keep the faith, trust in the soul, trust in the energy that created you. The soul created you, your soul created you, which creator created the souls. So we that energy, that identity of which is what we think is us, is the what actually created us to go through this experience here in this realm. And if it created this, you don't think it can fix it if there's a problem? If we doubt that, then we're going to be going down the path of allopath, because somebody else has to fix it. How could we possibly fix it? We need somebody else to do it for us. And that's the problem with the way the masses are programmed now. We've all been brought up that every time, oh, you got a headache, or you got this or that, oh, you got to go see the white jackets, right? Take your pill or whatever. And you know, they have their purpose, but if we walk in the divine light, you will see their purpose will become futile. You know, if somebody gets in a car accident and we are all living in the light, guess what? What could happen by somebody who gets injured like that when everybody's living in the light? What do you think is possible?
Instant healing. Right?
If you understand that everything's energy and you just were able to bring it back balance to that accident, of course the body would heal instantaneously. So
Yeah, we're not at that stage, but in general, the body can still heal, right?
yeah, I'm
It
just
would be
saying,
nice to have.
I see a future where the allopath will become extinct eventually.
When people learn the truth, how easy it is to take care of yourself.
It has to, you know, just think about it. It has to be forced upon us. Where's the truth in that? Anything that is done by force cannot be truth. Truth is simple, simplicity. It's within. Go in and you'll know the truth. Fast and you will know the truth. Keep fasting and more truth will come. We don't have to, people will argue all they want because these are people that have not gone through it. And you know, the ones who have gone through it, they have not committed to the lifestyle. They've just had the taste of some magic happen. But you know, what happens when they go cuckoo with eating and they start getting all kinds of problems again? They blame the fast. They blame the fast. Like, okay, it's the fasting's fault. They just can't see how simple the answers are in plain sight. You know, if the fasting helped the body restore all that through the soul, then how can the food be anything positive if that's what caused the problems again, right? So it's just you know.
Yeah, but food is not negative.
Huh?
Food is a nice experience. It can be a
It
positive
is, but I'm just saying when
experience.
people go start going crazy, like after a long day, just a vacation,
we don't recommend that, so it's okay.
and then eating like crazy, what they used to eat, it's just like we're going in the other direction because we want to heal. So if we want to heal, why are we going back?
Lifestyle is the focus.
Of course, it's always a lifestyle. So I don't know. It's just it's interesting, very interesting. all the different experiences that we've encountered. It's you see everything under the sun. And the
I-
ones who,
We learn from people's experiences and our own experiences before that. Because I have been through enough, and you have been through enough. I would say Gino has much more experience, of course, than me. And so my experience was similar to many people's experiences who did not, who lacked Gino's experience. So I understand how people are feeling in terms of like long fast and then eating very heavy after some time of breaking it. It's not easy on the body at all, and the emotions and the mind, because we are not trained. We lack that training of fasting and eating that you have, right?
yeah, like the 108 dayer, I'm all for it for when somebody is ready.
Yeah, and nobody is okay. Most people are not.
Most people are not.
Yeah, you can't say
Most people are not. But
nobody is. You can't say
show me
nobody.
one person. Tell me one person who
you
was ready for 108.
you
I
can't see-
can't recall.
Nobody is, because nobody knows the experience till they do it. Nobody's ready.
Yeah, I can recall one person who had a great experience breaking a long fast. But even you, I remember you had also a rough experience.
Challenging,
108. I remember.
very challenging to break it.
Like a few months after you broke it.
Steve, how has yours been?
Sorry.
Up and down. It's not been, it's been challenging. But, no. When I eat, and I don't care what I eat after a fast, I get a pain in my lower back when digestion starts, and I don't care. I can eat as clean as a whistle, and as soon as that digestion starts, I get a freaking pain that runs right along my lower back, right up to my hip. Every time. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be grapes will do it.
And does it persist?
And I have, if you recall, I got this tooth up here that's, the nerve is that way. When I was on the fast, nothing. As soon as I started eating again, things flaring up.
Still working.
I was level 5, almost level 5 this week. So I started yesterday. I had a beautiful salad for the first time since I broke the fast. I had a salad and I enjoyed it. So maybe there's hope. Who knows? Because everything I've eaten to date, to that salad yesterday, I've not enjoyed, period. Just been because I tried eating fruit and it's just been a huge disappointment. The vegetables I'm not growing, so they're not up to the quality that I'm used to.
Yeah.
So everything is just not, it's just been a disappointment. But yesterday's salad was nice. I had another one today. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But the tooth's going. And again, I'm eating clean, and the freaking tooth is starting.
Yeah. It just shows that there's still work happening because
Oh yeah. I'm still. What's it? I'm out about a month. Somewhere around there.
Oh yeah.
About a month or 4 weeks, and the releases are still coming.
The 100.
Really?
Mm.
It's not the levels that they were during the fast, but that's the process is still going on.
Yeah, because you're fasting still, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But the effects of a long digestive vacation, the breaking of that, it takes a long time. Like it's up to a year's time of all the changes from that 108 days. It's really difficult for people to comprehend that, how much is going on in these long digestive.
It's such and I don't care again how clean it is. It's at such a lower level energetically.
Mm-hmm. And that's the challenge when people.
That's the challenge.
You're trying to mimic how they felt on the fast. It's not going to happen on
You
food.
can't do it through food, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, but the level of obstructiveness makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
For sure it does. Oh, yeah, because
I can
there's
tell.
a few things, I ate a little heavier on Thanksgiving Day here. Surprisingly, it was light, but it was heavier for what wasn't a salad, put it that way. It was a
Right.
squash, which is still okay, but there was a little bit of grain in it, which,
Mhm. Yeah, so you feel it, and if there's a little bit.
oh
of
yeah, I felt it, yeah.
People make
But
it.
it wasn't enough to, usually the grain will flare my arthritis immediately. So it wasn't enough to do that. That hasn't flared up at all.
but
what does?
The grain.
Any grain will,
Oh, yeah.
will trigger my arthritis. I mean, it's still there, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've lost a lot of dexterity from the arthritis. So it's not like it's gone, but it's not flaring. The inflammation is down.
Yeah, for me, wheat, absolutely.
Yeah, wheat, especially today's wheat,
Arthritis.
forget it.
Yeah.
The grains are really hard.
And it just, I mean, because I can still get up in the morning and close my hands. If I start eating wheat, I can only go like this.
Hmm.
So, I mean,
It
Pretty
just
fast.
shows how much of an irritant it is.
yeah.
Wild, right?
It blocks the kidneys and then
Yeah. But I had tonight, I made a spaghetti squash that I grew. I grew it.
Nice.
And I had some eggplant actually from last season, not this past season, from last season that I had in the freezer. So I thawed that out and I stuffed the spaghetti squash with that.
what is it?
Eggplant,
Nice.
eggplant. I grew that 2 years ago.
So what did you do with it?
I stuffed the spaghetti squash with it.
Yeah, like how do you make it? The eggplant.
Oh, I roasted it. It was already cooked. I roasted it and just froze it.
Nice.
And then I took it out, just thawed it out, and I put some onion in it. Really tasty.
Mm.
And then I made a nice red pepper. I made a big batch of roasted red pepper tomato sauce that I canned. So I put that on top. So everything I ate except for the onions I grew.
Nice.
That was nice.
Amazing.
That was nice. Again, I mean, I could only eat, and I had a salad. I could only eat a quarter of the spaghetti squash. It's like, that's enough.
Yeah.
That was enough.
Yeah, you can't eat too much when you're fasting.
No,
It's great.
no, and I went level, yeah, I think it was 5, level 5, maybe 6. I don't know what it was. I don't really kind of keep track anymore.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I like to eat on the same day, so this way, just to keep it consistent.
Mhm.
It's nice.
But you've asked me a few times, especially even last year, if I could see myself going liquidarian, and I can still see that. I don't know if it's today, but I can still see that happening.
Going what?
Liquidarian.
Yeah. I can still see that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I have considered it
It's much easier lifestyle.
twice.
It is,
Yeah, but
especially with my background, because, and again, you really can't understand where it comes from because of my addictions.
yeah, Steve,
And
we all, I have big addictions to food too, or I used to.
no, I'm not talking about food, I'm talking about the drugs and the alcohol.
Alcohol.
I understand. I
No,
understand.
you don't understand, that's the problem. That's what I'm trying to get.
You don't understand.
You won't be able to understand it. You can't, there's nothing you can relate it to.
I'm talking about
Fast, because if I can't relate to somebody in the fast, what it feels like. If they don't,
talking about the food.
you can't relate it, right? It's the same thing, what happens in my brain with the alcohol and the drugs. See, I cannot wrap my brain around eating 2 days and fasting 5 days because of the addiction with the drugs and alcohol. I have to abstain 100%. I cannot drink and do drugs for 2 days and abstain for 5 days. So it's been a huge challenge to try and change that mindset. Don't forget, I've been, for 24 years, I've been going one way, because this is the only way. I pick a drug up, I'm done. I pick a drink, one drink, I'm screwed, right? I can't do it. I'm not an active alcoholic anymore. I've dropped that label. But that doesn't change the fact that I cannot ever safely pick a drink up, period. That is a fact that I will take to the grave with me. So to try and change that mindset is just, it's
Yeah. Now,
it's hard. It's impossible. So far, it's been impossible to change.
I would say drugs and drinks are different from food.
But the same chemical imbalances take place in the brain. I don't care what the substance is. It makes
How
no
do you know
difference.
that?
It does. It's the same.
I mean, I have addiction. I had addiction to food, and you cannot explain. It's impossible to explain. It's impossible to explain how. Why are you addicted like that?
Because it's
impossible.
that trigger that goes on, and you need to
And-
whatever you're gonna do,
and-
whatever it takes to get it.
And by the way, I have done many long master fasts, and it was very hard for me to break them properly, just like you, Steve. I was like, it was impossible for me to be satisfied after a long fast with the food. Impossible to find balance.
Oh, I wasn't looking for satisfaction. I'm looking for some kind of peace.
That's what I'm talking about. Not only satisfaction. Of course, it's impossible to find satisfaction with food for that lack. However,
But you don't understand the obsessions that kick in. I'm telling you, you cannot appreciate the obsessions that kick in. It's the same trigger mechanism that happens.
whatever it is, I can tell you that my obsession with food after a long fast was crazy, that it was impossible for me to find a solution other than doing one of the levels. It was impossible for me.
And that works for you. That's fine.
I had to establish a routine now. Okay.
No, I understand that. No, I'm not arguing your point. I totally, I agree with you. I agree with the levels. Absolutely.
Everybody will find a way to make it work for them.
Yeah,
Nobody's
you just
gonna be
have
the
to
same.
find your way. Right.
Nobody's gonna be the
But I'm
same.
saying that's been the challenge for me. It's not anything else. It's that challenge of trying to change the mindset.
I had a very strong challenge trying to change my mindset after a long fast. It was impossible for me.
Mhm.
It was impossible to work. And that's why for me, I said, that's it. It's either I do this or I do liquidarian. But to do a long fast and go to enjoy my food after, it's impossible for me. And that's, yeah. Again, we just have to find our balance. It was really hard. And that's why, I felt like it's not a place, I want to avoid this experience. It's just, I want to avoid it,
Unfortunately, and this runs through alcohol and drug addiction. It is extremes.
Yeah, I hear you.
And
Extreme.
it's huge. There is absolutely no balance in it, period.
Balance, yeah.
Because it's either freaking total abstinence, and I mean total abstinence, or it's total indulgence.
It's hard.
There's no in between.
It's a
But
big.
you're doing well now. I'm sure it's taking a lot of work, of course. It takes a lot of
Determination.
Power doesn't work.
but I mean you're doing it. You're doing it.
Working,
With a lot, yeah, with a lot of
working,
yes.
work in progress.
Right.
That's all. Let's continue.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin, I have to be authority. I used to speak outside myself, seek outside myself.
Absolutely.
Non-aggression.
Yeah. So
I've
everything
listed
was
it.
non-aggression.
Steven sounds like a mobster from an old school Al Pacino movie.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Offer you can be liquidarian.
It's drugs there's some drugs that are very, very addictive, but
Crazy.
honestly, I don't think
Cocaine is one of the most addictive substances on the planet.
cocaine.
Cocaine.
Yeah, I've been there. I don't think anything comes close to food myself.
Well, it's different. It's different.
Well,
Die from.
that's because of the social acceptance.
It's everywhere and available anywhere.
Yeah, but the harm is not the same. Come on.
I'm not saying that. What do you mean? Hey, people kill themselves with food
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
I know, but it's much
Cocaine
slower,
is
you know?
quicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got into cocaine heavy for like a couple of years or so. Yeah, you know, it's
20.
it's not a good thing to be doing, that's for sure. But I gave it up like that. I said I'm done with it, and I walked away.
See, now that's, now I want you to think about that. That's the point I'm trying to make. Then you never cross the freaking line of addiction.
Yeah, I was done with it.
Never.
Yeah.
Because if you crossed the line of addiction, that never would have happened.
And never
Right,
touched it again.
Right. So he was not addicted, you're saying?
Whether that
There was a line and he didn't.
crossed with my past, I started drinking at 9. By 12 years old, I was
Cross the line.
an addict.
Yeah. Once you're an addict, that's it, right? It's hard. It's impossible almost to make a big switch.
Are we freezing?
You're physically and emotionally.
Yep.
I think so.
Are we freezing on the internet here?
You are a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's interesting because we're seeing some of you freezing. I don't know why.
No, Tatiana, there's never been in the history of Alcoholics Anonymous, there has never been one documented case of anybody ever being able to drink safely again, ever.
See, there you go.
Right.
But I remember you also mentioned that this mentality is the all or nothing
Mm.
is very much like taught and strengthened there. You said it's kind of from there, but I mean, I guess it was the only way that people could stop.
Yes. Yes. And that's what makes this such a challenge.
The difference between the drugs and alcohol is those are not programmed in us to be deemed necessity until COVID.
Correct. That's the other aspect of it. That's what I was saying. It's not so much.
Yeah, the food we believe we need to eat, right? For the most part, it's programmed in us. That's the difference.
And also, it's
But,
Absolutely.
but honestly, I feel the food is more addictive. That's what I feel.
because of the programming.
I can attest to the fact that it's more freaking addictive.
Yeah, so there you go. So
then I come back to my point. How can, if it's so much more highly addictive, especially the crap that they make, if you're eating that shit.
corporate stuff.
So how can you find balance if you're still using it?
If you stick to the cleaner, minimal foods, like let me put my experience. When I stayed 100% raw, it was easier than having a little bit of cooked food.
100%.
When you do 100% long digestive vacation, it's easier than eating a little bit. Same thing.
Of course.
So that's why.
By the food into your mouth, you trigger, correct?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
it's also, I mean, less cravings, you're not, and also you establish a routine,
But you're still triggering it, no matter what. Every single time, it still triggers.
triggers, but they're minor. And the obstructions, there aren't as many, like.
Fresh ripe fruit
This
is the least trigger food. It still does trigger.
Right, thank you.
It still does. That's the. But yeah, what we're doing, you can't
But
just.
now you gotta take my case, and anybody else who has my background, not just me, because I'm not special about this. And for this brain that's screwed up, that turns into an obsession, like almost immediately. As soon as the trigger goes, the obsession is right freaking there. And it's not a minor obsession. It is total obsession.
Full on.
Full on.
Yeah, but Steve, I can 100% relate to that experience with food. 100%. 100%. I mean, what? Yeah, you saw me, right? But like nothing, like it's impossible to find satisfaction.
Scared me.
Huh?
It scared me.
It's okay. Um, yeah, like it's impossible to find satisfaction. I would eat
Freezing
something,
again.
I'm like, it's you know, I not satisfied, right? So I want to eat another meal to find another taste, you know, the
No,
other
it's
one.
not a question of being satisfied, because there's no satisfying it.
Yeah,
It's
trust me, I've done it
insatiable.
for the past 5 years. So up and down, up and down, it has to be, for me, I know myself, I like things gentle. And I believe most people, you too, we don't like force. Okay? People do not like to be pushed and forced to stop something, to stop eating, or to stop, you know, well, so when you eat and then you have to stop eating because you want to fast again, right? It's very difficult to
It's
stop.
it has to come to you. It's just like when you
How does it come to you when you
it
start
comes to
eating?
you.
It's
No,
addiction.
no, but
You're
I'm just saying,
addicted.
just like if you're not ready to fast, you're not going to fast. When you're ready, bang! It's just there.
I'm
You
not
just
talking about fasting. I'm talking fasting after a long fast. It's very difficult. Um, it's very difficult, especially for people who have this addicted mentality, which, in my opinion, so many people everybody has it to variable degrees. Variable degrees.
Oh, I agree with that.
I'm a higher degree.
Absolutely.
Let's say, Steve, I did the drugs and alcohol. Maybe I would be dead by now. Seriously, seriously.
Oh.
Like, I know my personality. I can go both sides.
Yep.
Like I can be extremely healthy or extremely like addicted as well. But also I can find balance, you know, thank God, you know. But
Well, perhaps one day I will. I'm just saying that's where I've been since day one because
Yeah.
of
yeah, I know. Hey, I did also
trying to marry the two. It just is not working yet.
right. So I did a few long day, like level 5 and level 6, like over 100 days. And this one now I'm like in day 60 something. And of course, I would say after a month, really, you start feeling comfortable. After 2 months, you're like, okay, thank God, you know, I feel amazing. You know, I feel great. I feel under control. I'm looking forward to eat, but I'm also always fasting almost. So it's a nice feeling. It's hard to get to. It takes me months maybe to start a level, months of up and down, up and down. It's not easy. You really have to have, you keep the faith, especially the first month. I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, even after long, like this level 5 or level 6, when I fall off and eat every day after that, for whatever reason I fall off. I don't remember why I fall off. Maybe I meet up with family or friends and eat, and maybe emotional, you know. And then, boy, and I try something from their food and I feel like obstructed. It's when I feel obstructed from the food, it really weighs me down. It really, like, everything, spiritually, emotionally. Or when you get criticized, oh, you look too thin, by my dad, especially, somebody that I really love, you know.
Yeah.
Makes fun of me, you know. I'm like, I get mad at them, and then when I get mad at them, I get mad. Of course, I get mad at me, right, for getting mad, for losing my control. And that usually triggers, and so what happens sometimes, I end up eating, and I don't like. It doesn't satisfy, but you feel a little bit better that you're gaining weight, but it's obstructive food and it's horrible. Um, yeah, yeah. And when I start eating like this every day, almost, it's not fun. This
No, it's
exact
not.
feeling of breaking a long fast and getting addicted, it's exactly the same thing. And you can swell and you can feel horrible and addicted. The worst thing is the addiction because it doesn't stop. You're in a cycle now of addiction.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Rana,
Hmm.
Rana, you were on a raw juice fast, right?
Yeah, I did
Just
that.
for,
Yeah, 7 years.
did you experience the same issues of losing control or or losing weight, mind to say,
Ah,
losing extreme weight.
I did 100-day raw juice fast. It was mainly cantaloupe. No,
Yeah.
I only lost 2 kilos compared to the master fast. No,
Mhm.
no, I was full actually. I was full.
So,
I was
so
bloated.
then you, okay, here's my question. You could have continued being a liquidarian forever on raw juices
Raw juice?
because you did,
Okay, raw
yeah,
juice
because
was 7 years ago.
because you have not lost so much weight. You were not criticized. You were not struggling.
Oh,
Oh, I want to eat and not eat.
no, 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 no. That's not true.
No. Okay.
So,
Roommate.
100-day juice fast. I was new to everything. I was only a few months into raw food, and then yeah, maybe 5, 6 months. And then my friend wanted to lose weight. He said, "Can you do a 100-day juice fast with me?" And I said, "Okay, fine." You know, I was not, I didn't want initially, but I said, "Okay, whatever helps him lose weight." So I did that with him. And actually, I stuck to the 100 days, and he didn't. But I did it, and of course, my family was worried about me. I was worried about me. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was worried. I was
But
like,
you only lost
I had to ask
2 kilos.
Dr. Morris, is it okay to drink only cantaloupe juice, or is something is gonna happen to me? Like, you know, I remember. So it was really, it was hard for me. I didn't know what I was doing. I was worried. Um,
So you didn't have the support that you have right now, a group and many, many, many people doing the same thing
information. I
and
didn't have
have
the
the
protocol.
insurance.
I didn't have the
Mhm.
protocol. Once I read Gino's protocol, the master fast, I was like, wow. I definitely was clueless about fasting.
Mhm.
And so
But you were comfortable overall, like you were not afraid of being
I was,
criticized for losing weight,
I
so
was,
much weight.
no, I was not happy with my weight. I was bigger than what I wanted to be. I was bloated.
Ah,
I was bloated. I remember my belly was like, you know, yeah, like I
Raw
mean,
juice.
Raw
I
juice supplement.
Raw
didn't
juice.
do any, I didn't do like colonics, enemas. I was clueless, really.
mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, you told me liquidarian back then, I would be like, what? Never heard of that, you know? Yeah, it was not
Right.
something I would consider. During the master fast, Gabrielis asked me, do you want to become liquidarian or breatharian? And I was like, even with the 108 days, you know, we were listening to different videos or recordings from breatharians. And I was like, no. Yes, I understand how amazing I feel, but no. And then when I broke it, that's when I started really listening to the breatharian videos. And it's, you know, not everybody is really breatharian, right? Um, I think I was inspired mainly by Ray Mowers, and he was eating 1 day a week. And so that's what I did. I decided, and that's how I got into the levels, you know?
Yeah, I can see that that's where very
Yeah.
similar to Ray Mauer's
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
But I am like Steve, although I've never used any substances, I cannot do levels. I tried. That's why I wrote I went 2 Wednesdays ago. There's just this unnumbered days, day number ones. The day number 2 never comes.
Okay, let me tell you again. Trust me, it takes me months to get into one of the levels, and I have done the levels many times. It takes me months to start to start.
Basically, I'm doing level 1.
Yeah, yeah, level 1 is fine, whatever. But you know, of course, the more days you fast, the more days you fast, the easier it is, in my opinion. Less cravings, less obstruction.
Really freezing up there.
Okay, the more fasting days, the less cravings I have. So with level 6, it's easier than level 5. Level 6.
Sorry, I couldn't get it.
Can you hear me?
You keep
Nope.
freezing.
Yeah. I'm saying level 6 is easier than level 5. The more fasting days, the easier it is.
Oh yeah, I would love to be a level 6 or level 5, but I can't make it because as soon as I allow myself to have beautiful persimmon, the gates open and open field.
Yeah, well, you
I
have
end up, I end up with junk ramen soup. I mean, how do you go from a
Oh, I
persimmon?
understand. I'm not laughing at you, believe me. I
How do you go
understand that.
from a beautiful
yeah, no,
fruit to that?
first of all,
It's the addiction.
You better believe it.
you gotta get the ramen out. You know, I don't know what it's made of, like wheat, right? Do you buy it already pre?
Oh yeah.
Of
Okay,
course. you do.
definitely you want to get that out because that's very addictive in
Extremely.
every way. It's addictive. You give it to me, and tomorrow I'll be like, give it back to me right now. If I
Yeah.
yeah, if I eat pizza now, I'll be like, I'm gonna shoot anyone. Give me a pizza right now again. Like yeah, I would be very addicted. I would be very addicted. Give me fruit, I'll throw it. There's no way I can eat fruits after eating something heavy. It's impossible. That's
Yeah.
why it's very addictive. So get rid of the addiction,
Not
addictive
impossible.
foods. Get rid of the addictive foods. Yeah, but if you're eating addictive food on a regular basis, you're going to be very addicted. I know it comes back to me, this addiction, the obsession. So get rid of that. Keep it cleaner. Fruits and vegetables raw cooked. That's what I do. And make intention for how many days you want to eat. Now, when you eat 1 day a week or 2 days a week, whatever you want, let's say you want to do 1 day a week.
Has to be either on or off. It's just a bind
Yeah, you are giving yourself a little.
or one. It cannot be both. You
I-
either close or open the gate.
Yeah, you want. Yeah, yeah, when I do that level 6 and eat 1 day a week, I tell myself this is for my emotions, okay? To be gentle, a little bit gentle with myself and also with my family. If I see them, I don't want to be always fasting. I want to maybe sometimes eat with them. So that would be my day to have a break with them. So I take it as okay, let's just slow down a little bit, take a little break and get back on, and then slow down, a break of 1 day and get back on. It's really easy when you have lots of fasting days. After, I would say, give it a month, then you feel more confident. And then
Even on Monday after your colonics, you feel okay.
oh, I feel great after the colonic. I do it in the
Oh, yeah.
morning and it's done. It's just one meal, but the meal comes out on Monday and Tuesday, 2 days, like 2 days it takes
Yes, yes.
for it to completely come out. It takes 2 days.
If you don't wash, you'll be more.
Don't worry about washing. I wash every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you eat obstructive foods, it might take more than 2 days. The more obstructive the food, the more the constipation, right?
Yes.
The residues, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why
I
we choose clean, minimal eating as best we can, because
oh yeah, me too.
know,
Like
we all have
that's
the
my
choice.
intention.
we all have the choice to stay least obstructive, medium, or high. We all have that choice. Where do we want to go? If we're going to go in the high all the time, it's not going to be pleasant. We're going to want more and more of that. It's very addictive. More obstructive, more addictive.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
me just read a catch up here. No, don't freeze here. I'm good. No freezing. When I go raw, it seems like I get cold easier, Dustin. Yeah, that happens in the first few years if you haven't cleaned out your obstructions. And then once you clean them out and the body works more efficiently, you're going to feel much better. Overall, when you're, if you stay on all raw food, the body temperature is like 2 degrees Fahrenheit less than cooked food eater.
For a while.
Because no, it stays like that because basically the food, if you do a lot of fat, you're going to be the same thing. But if the foods, the heavier foods, the more obstructive foods, cooked foods, are making the body seem like there's invasion. It's a slight fever. So we don't really know what the normal body temperature really is. But you can help yourself with a cold with all the different tools that we've suggested. You can do, cold dips, and you can do saunas and so on and so forth. Breath work is a big one. Meditation. and so on and so on and so on. Sun gazing, there's many things you can do to get over that. When I went raw, I froze for 2 years. Even the summer, I was shaking.
And then it was gone, right?
Oh, yeah. I was freezing last year.
Yeah.
Okay,
For the
so
most part.
for the most part, it changed.
Yeah, it's still, when it's really good. When, I don't know if anybody knows, there's days that you can handle cold, and there's days sometimes you don't feel like you can handle it. Just especially when you're fasting, if you're going through fast, you can feel that.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it is. On the days that you have more challenges, use the tools to get through it. And the other days, you can go out in freezing cold with your shorts and you feel great with the sun shining. So enjoy those too. But we're gonna always go through different cycles of feeling different things with the temperatures and so on and so forth. There's lots of things happening in the physicality associated with eating. So we embrace it all, and we move through it. No big deal.
Tatiana, sorry.
Hot
I
water
cut you.
bottles, like I know when I did some long fast, I couldn't warm up no matter what in the night, and I would use hot water bottles, sleep with a hot water bottle. That really helped.
Tatiana.
Do that sometimes. I wanted to share just a few thoughts. If we're talking about addiction, I mean, food is a separate kind of addiction because our family members have, like, our ancestors have been using it for so long, right? But I think when it comes to any addiction, it's not about the substance, right? It's the emotional part that we should have to look at. It's not like, I don't know, it's not in the staying away from it, like
If we don't nourish the emotions,
the emotional part.
we're gonna keep trying to nourish it with food.
It's like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not an expert.
The food doesn't nourish.
Switching seats on the Titanic.
Yeah. The food doesn't nourish the emotions. It just numbs us out.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
fasting brings everything to the surface. And if we're not ready to let it go, let it flow, we're going to want to numb it out over and over. We've all gone through that. So how do we nourish emotions? Well, we've talked about that, right? There's many, many things you can do. Doing what you love to do, being in nature, essential oils, breath work, meditation, many, many, many things you can do. Preparing meals for your loved ones. There's so many things that can nourish the soul, nourish the emotion. And we work with that. And the ones, that help you the most, do those ones the most. And you will see that you don't have to reach out for food when you're doing all that stuff that you love. So you have to find something you love to do, Aranka.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Keep yourself busy. It's,
We all do.
a lot of people that want to heal, and I find a big portion of many people, they have nothing to do in life, and they're trying to heal.
Well, I think we're not when we're not following our purpose. Like for me, sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah.
No,
Just for me, I think it was like I go to it when I feel like I can't create the reality I want to create. I can't do what my soul wants to do, my purpose. And we feel blocked. We're in a society where we have to like do a lot of ridiculous things, and we just feel unable to like to manifest that. So it's like
I hear you.
we use it to like numb that out, suppress that.
Right. Like
Let our soul express. That's what it really wants to do.
yeah, like lack of alignment, right?
Yeah.
With our purpose.
Yeah, feeling like unable to like create what it is, like express the way you want to express, I guess.
Yeah.
the demons are always right there. Right there, and they will continuously be waiting for those opportunities that you are in the weakened times, right? They're always there.
Yeah, they're doing push-ups in the parking lot, just waiting for their opportunity.
Yeah,
We can put the focus elsewhere,
exactly.
and then they lose their strength. Let me
Yeah.
get that.
Oh, yes.
What happens with food, they will entice you more. Happens with alcohol and drugs, even more, so on and so forth, and the psychiatric drugs.
The
Oh boy.
addiction is more. That's what the addiction is. Believe me.
Yeah.
More.
So, like for me, when doing drugs, cocaine was probably the hardest thing I've done. Opium a couple times with some hash, but I never got into that crazy addicted thing where, I was more of, I would always do it with friends and stuff, but alone was very rare for me. So I never got
I
into
would
that
say thank God.
addictiveness. Yeah.
Thank
Food
God.
is a different story, right? Being Italian, eat anything and everything.
Yeah,
A lot of it.
everybody eats, but the drugs, not everybody does. So.
Yeah, the drugs I never really got really heavy into. My body type, I would be dead, I think, because I wouldn't be able to do what you did, Steve. I'd be dead. Like I said, I don't know many people who've lived what you lived through.
There's a lot of us, believe me.
I have friends who are dead, gone.
Drugs?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, it's we're all in this together, and the more we discuss this stuff and live it,
Share it.
the more we'll be able to master ourselves, and that's all what it's all about. We have to master ourselves and learn to be able to control and nourish and control our emotions, because that's what's going to keep us moving in the direction of the light. The confusion and all that stuff, it pulls us away from the light all the time, and the distractions and everything, and all this stuff that's going on. Look, keeping everybody in that fear state. And what happens now, like right now, in this past 8 months, I've seen, so many people get more distracted than I've ever seen, because this has never happened anything like this at this scale. It's just like, wow, man. It's just health. People forgot about their health. This is the most important time to take care of your health more than ever, because if we put ourselves in a more imbalanced state now, it's just harder for us.
It was so easy to deal with this shit when I was in the fast. So easy.
Big difference. Big difference. Yeah, man. It's we get
I
caught.
mean, you can feel it. I can feel it. You can physically feel it. The freaking fear out there.
When
Hey,
you
Steve,
raise, when we
Steve,
raise,
why aren't you in the fast? Why did you come out of the fast?
Because it was time to break it.
Did you experience some discomfort, some fear?
For what?
Before breaking it or after?
No fear. No, it was time to break. It was just time to break.
It was mental or physical?
It's hard to explain because I never
Curious.
I never planned it. I never planned any of them, any of the periods that I fasted. When I tried to power through things, I couldn't do it. So it's not.
Yeah, I remember I followed. Yeah.
It's not a willpower game. You can't win it. No willpower. No, take that out of the equation. No matter what we're doing here.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
easy.
what
It was
now?
easy. He just felt like
So it just was. I don't know. It was just time. It was time. It was time to end. I don't know how to explain it.
I remember you were curious to try maybe the soups that you made before. Like, yeah, me too. I mean,
Yeah, that's the funny thing. When I decided that I was going to end it, because I wasn't sure. If you remember, I wasn't sure I was going to break it for 1 week.
yeah, I remember.
When I made the decision that okay, it's time to do it. Guess what started coming in? Oh, I got the soups downstairs. Yeah, absolutely.
Curiosity.
Like that was like in 92 days, I think. When I said, okay, I'll break it to 108, whatever day it was.
Yeah, I think in your 80s, 90s, something like that.
Yeah, it was up there. But it was
Ranjit
time.
is
It was time. It was just time to come out of it.
Ranjit
Part
is
of it was
still
emotional. I had dealt, a lot of stuff had come to the surface and was dealt with, and I needed to take a break from that, to be honest with you.
I see. So you had to deal with a lot of your emotions during the fast?
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Dustin,
And I just touched the surface, believe me. I got a lot of work was done, but there's the.
Well, you went to yoga classes, some rolfing sessions. And,
What was that?
you went to yoga classes regularly?
Yeah, oh,
some,
yeah. Yep.
Some
Yeah, I
raw.
changed with this bullshit. I started the yoga and meditation this year. I started.
Which one?
Prior to this year, I'd never meditated. So a lot of changes came in this year.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
it's yeah, the calling of going foodless. It'll come if it comes. This isn't,
Yeah, I don't.
uh, it's no big deal. Like, I go through stretches. Um, it's just the way it is. I've accepted the way it is. I don't have to push myself into any directions. And when it comes, and that's it. When I want to eat, I eat. No big deal. I don't worry about these things. Everybody puts so much energy in anything. You got to fast or you got to eat. Or blah, 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 blah. Leave me alone. I've been doing this 31 years. You're going to try and tell me what I got to do? I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it. And there's nothing wrong with either way. It's just that when people come off these long fasts, they go cuckoo. Because I don't know what it is, but they think that, that they do a long fast and everything's going to magically heal and disappear in their lives. Everything's fixed.
No, it amplifies everything.
Yeah.
Freaking amplifies it to the nth degree when you come out of it.
Yeah. So,
Huge.
I never thought of anything in those regards. It just is what it is. Okay, the body's doing this and that. Okay, when I eat, this happens. Oh, okay. I have to be careful more when I break the fast. No big deal. This is the way it is. People aren't used to understanding. You have to listen to the body and how it responds and so on and so forth. Pay attention. The answers are always in plain sight, as we've always said. They're always there if you pay attention. But lack of experience has people misinterpreting answers a lot. I've seen, because when you do so many years, then you start getting the real clarity of what's really going on. The short things, people think they know it all. Okay, let me know in 5 years, 10 years, and then we'll talk. Because a couple of years, it's nothing. You start opening up and seeing a lot, but it's the living it over and over and over. You're going to start seeing many, many different things and aspects of the understanding of coming forth, and that's the beauty, because you just live it and just love it. And you're going to go through phases. There's breatharians who went back to eating food. People say, I'm never going to eat again. Man, bullshit. There's breatharians that went back to eating food. Why? Because things change in our life all the time. Everything's dynamic. So for somebody to say they're never going to eat again, yeah, okay, for now, today. And that's okay. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
So you really have anyways today.
The longest I went with, was after Ellaton came. I was almost a whole month on very little liquid, almost no liquid. Through over 30 days. That's the longest I did. But we just have to be in a position where the understanding is a solid knowing within, and that's what's going to allow us to go whichever direction we're supposed to go. It's never going to happen through willpower and force. Not going to happen. Like Steve, with all of the fasting you've done these past few years, the 108 days that you've experienced, how did that compare to the other ones, the shorter ones?
There's really no comparison to it.
Sorry?
There's really no way to compare it. There's no,
They're all different.
I was ready for it. Emotionally, I was ready for it.
Right. And that's, emotionally and also
And
physically
physically, I was ready for it.
because of the work you did.
Correct. Because of last year.
Right. Yeah, because what you've been through. It's like I
I
said,
lost very, I only lost, I didn't lose very much weight in this 108, very little. I don't know,
Mhm.
10, 15 pounds maybe.
I know, but yeah, we've seen many people that, in the first 108.
Last year, I mean, I lost from day one to last year, I lost 45 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the first fast we lose a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, that was last year, all that.
Because we were full, and then like also inflammation and water and all
So
that.
so physically, there's a little more balance physically.
Well, the body is working on fields.
I was working, especially the bowels.
So, it's,
Amazing how the body's working now.
yeah, like you've been through all that drug addiction, alcohol, big on food, cigarettes, and we lost Steve. No, he moves places. Sorry, and all that. All the different things, and also you went through chemo and other things. So that's a lot of experience in that area that your body had to purge out, and you still got to do some purging, believe it or not. It's still gonna
Oh, I know I do.
be
9 years is a good start.
it's very, very difficult for,
But I was able to get, I got 68 hours drive this week.
wow, awesome.
I was having challenges, probably 80 days on of getting through 24 hours drive. It was very challenging.
Like we said, it's you're gonna go through times where it's easy, and you're gonna go through times where, okay, my body's saying no, but you have to listen to that. Sometimes we can trick it into doing the more the different levels of the dry and push a little bit further, allow it a little bit further, but we got to listen to what's going on. The scary thing is where people with no experience, they start pushing because in the dry you feel so much better, and they get themselves in trouble. And
Yeah, kidneys were talking a little bit.
yeah, that's the challenge, because when it turns, we know on fasting, everything can turn within a minute, bang, bang, from feeling great to feeling like you're dead, you're dying. So, and then they feel hopeless. They rush themselves to emergency and stuff. And that's where big challenges start happening. So you got to be careful and prudent. This is why, for the most part, for most people, the best thing is to work on the levels for 6 months to a year, get the body used to fasting, breaking the fast over and over, and it'll be cleaning out at the same time in that year. So, and that way there, you can more prepared for, longer digestive vacations if you're ready. And if you're not ready, continue with that and just move up on the levels and continue gaining that experience, because it's only going to be beneficial for you. The less you eat, the better.
The most important thing is to enjoy the journey.
Yeah, if you don't enjoy, you're not.
Oh, it's been a blast. I love it.
You're not going to do
There's
it.
no part of it I would not want to change any part of it. Even the most challenging part was
Learning.
fine. Absolutely no problem with it.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
it's good stuff.
And I set intentions on before I did, when I started. There were some things I wanted to work on, and I was able to do that.
Yeah, it all happens when it's supposed to happen. But the experiences are just beautiful and breathtaking to the changes that we go through, and trying to get the mind into it and who, what, where, when, why, not going to happen.
You're not the same person entering as you are exiting.
Exactly.
There's no exit.
No, I mean the long one. The physical length of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's
Let's,
big transformations.
It's beautiful.
Brittany, you got your hand up.
We have some questions.
Let me just go through here, no freeze. People believe in your government is a huge problem, in my opinion. And they go, yeah, well, Patrick, hello.
Patricia.
Oh, Patricia, hello.
And I think Simeon has a question. What's your opinion on soy
Soy
and tofu?
If you do those, occasionally, it's no big deal. I wouldn't make them a staple, that's for sure.
Legumes in general.
If you can find it, they do have one brand of sprouted tofu.
Hmm.
That would be the better one to choose if you can
Too
find
much estrogen. Don't touch tofu.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's why I
yeah.
said no make it a staple.
You don't want any soy in your diet whatsoever, Simeon. Absolutely not.
If you choose it, you would choose the organic, non-GMO, because it's the GMO ones.
Yeah, there's one company that's organic and they sprout it.
What's it called?
I don't remember.
Yeah, okay.
There's one company doing it, and I think they have it in the US. I think it's from the US. But yeah, that stuff there. This
I mean,
is the vegan junk food
Legumes in general
people are attracted to.
are heavy, and soya usually is genetically modified, so
the
you have to
easiest-
find a better quality.
95% of it or something is GMO.
Yeah, the easiest legumes to digest, which are still hard, are chickpeas and lentils. They're the
Salt.
easier ones out of all the legumes, I believe.
Ozonated and salt.
Peas too.
Yeah,
Green peas. Those three. If you go outside of that, you're gonna feel the difference.
Yeah, and for lentils and chickpeas, I would ozonate and soak for 1 to 2 days.
Yeah, I always soak them.
And wash.
Before you cook.
You want that whatever layer of.
Yeah, if you can soak them 48 hours is ideal.
Yeah, get rid of everything.
There's something reading about like with soy, like certain kinds of soy, that it like has the molecular chain structure of something that looks exactly like thyroid tissue, and when the immune system like doesn't like or like wants to go after it or responds to it, sometimes it actually will go after both of them. So it's something called like molecular mimicry, because I was trying to understand like soy can like be okay, but like basically like why you wouldn't want to, and it had something to do with the thyroid gland. I don't remember what it was that I read, but
thyroid.
Yeah.
What?
It can shut off the thyroid. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's something called molecular mimicry where the immune system sees the structure of the soy and it sees thyroid tissue and it starts thinking that they're both like threats being threatened by soy.
Yeah, that's
Like autoimmune.
we can say that for every single thing we ingest.
Mm-hmm.
Any element.
Exactly.
If we continuously ingest, the body says, I don't need to make this. I'm getting it. So it shuts off to make, if when you start going back on the fields, your body can create them all the elements, all the amino acids, all the fats, everything it needs.
But yeah.
And it's hard for most people to believe and understand that. They believe in because we've all been fed the nutrition stuff, right?
I think
we need it from external sources, but the universe doesn't work that way.
I would avoid them, Simeon, immediately after, of course.
Yeah, like I said, I've said very occasionally, like every few months, if you have very little bit, no big deal. If you start putting it regularly in your diet, I wouldn't recommend it myself.
Definitely not a staple. What level are you thinking after this one?
I'll probably go to like maybe like a 5. Because I know the real muscles you develop in the master fast is learning how to correctly break it, which of course I did not do the first time. And it was amazing knowing how much your mind actually tells you how good things are versus how they really taste after a long fast. Just certain sweets and desserts, I've given up on candy 100%. But yeah, I think I'll probably go for like maybe a 5. Maybe, if if I do well, maybe go to like a 3-4, 3 days or 4 days on, 3 days off sort of thing. And it's obviously not eating like maybe one meal a day or maybe one piece of fruit or, maybe like some
Well,
squash.
yeah, when you eat, eat a meal till you're satisfied. Otherwise, you're gonna be grabbing things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning it out, setting my intention.
Remember, not all day long. If you can
Small window.
do your best for then 3 hours, just do your best. Like one
Okay.
meal would be good.
Yeah.
One
Well,
or one meal of fruit.
That's hard too. That's still been a challenge, trying to stay inside a 3-hour window.
Yeah.
It's
but
not going to be
we try the
perfect.
best we can.
Yeah.
But like if you're eating all day, you're gonna be
Oh.
eating all day the next day and the next day and the next day. So
Especially when you get to the third day.
we have to
Yeah.
set our intention to keep it a small window of eating and keep ourselves busy so that window stays small. Otherwise, yeah, we're gonna go off track.
Fast.
It's every day is a challenge. Every day is a challenge. So, there's some of us that have more challenges with food than others. So, we have to work with it and never ever give up. Just continue. It's the understanding of how the body changes and transforms when you start fasting is very misunderstood. So, with the experience, you will start gaining that understanding, and that's the only way. Doesn't matter how much times you read. I put out all my heart and soul, giving out all the information of all my experience, and people still don't get it. They, for the most part, they don't get it. You can see by what the questions they're asking and things they're saying and things they're doing and jumping from this place to another place to another place. So they just don't get it. I've seen people 2 years clean, master fast, feeling amazing, this, that, and the other thing. Then they're going off adding urine. Urine saved them. It wasn't the 2 years of master fast. It was the urine that saved them. This is how, I don't know what's the word I can use. It's just they don't have decades of experience. They're still seeing the effects of the 2 years of master fasting. They're adding the urine in there. They're saying urine did it. Or I'm just giving you an example, but there's other cases I've seen of people doing things, and it's when you make these changes, especially master fasting, there's nothing I've come across that has that power of purging. There's nothing even comes close. And you're going to see the effects for a while after that. Even if you've gone off, you're going to see the effects. And
But it's better to stay on.
oh yeah, of
because
course, you're gonna.
it's not fun to go back to the old ways.
Yeah, it's the agendas are always in play.
It's okay.
We
We have an agenda. We have a business too, so it's
yeah,
okay.
we have an agenda to get the correct information out and give people the power to see through all the freaking bullshit out there, because there's a lot. And we don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers, but we've been able to do and guide many thousands of people in things that I've never seen anywhere in the fasting world, in the raw food world and diet world and everything. I haven't seen it. So we're doing something that's in the right direction, that's for sure. And we keep learning. We keep learning as we go from everybody, and that's a beautiful thing. But we're not arrogant to say we have all the answers by far. That's why we keep saying, trust in your soul. This is the basic roadmap, and we learn, adjust it so it works for you, but learn from the information that you gain through the experiences. That's where you're going to get it all. And as we share that, we all become more enlightened and more our awareness expands together. And this is what it's all about. That's why we keep doing these calls, because we learn so much from each other. I learned tremendous amount doing it on my own, but we learn so much more with other people, and we can see all the similarities that everybody's going through. And some people are a little bit different, and it's all, wonderful and beautiful. But yeah, give credit where credit's due. Do the right thing. That's the motto. Do the right thing. A lot of people that came out of MasterFast don't give MasterFast any credit at all, and that's okay. That's the choice they make. But is that peace, balance, and correct conduct? I know what peace, balance, correct conduct is, and I give credit where credit's due. As best I
We do
possibly
our
can.
best. Everybody has a chance to become a better person.
Yep, we all try and do the best we can.
Elaine, hi everybody. I've been here for a while. Great talk. Stephen, I'm enjoying hearing about your experience with your long fast. Ooh. Patricia, I'm going to remove my root canal molar. I was searching in the group about that and saw some discussion. Yeah.
I don't recommend removing root canals unless they're giving you a problem. That's my opinion. I always say, do everything you can to save the tooth, even if they give you a root canal. Yeah, if it comes to a point where it's getting problems one after another, you can't solve it through the fasting and so on, then you have the option of pulling it out. And the best way, if you have to make a trip to a dentist, is dry fast.
Yep.
You stay on liquids for a day, dry fast. Start the dry fast the day before you go, and then you're doing the dry there, and maybe stay on another day dry, and it really makes everything heal much quicker. And then stay on liquids, and do that. But I say always try and do everything you can to save the tooth. Massage it daily, the whole gum area. Look at which tooth is your meridian lines, which organ is connected to, and then just know that you need why that tooth is like that. You need work to do still in the physical body or whatever organ is there. But we can't work on one little thing. We have to work on the whole physical, mental, emotional body at the same time. But teeth, many people have challenges with teeth. Many people. It just shows how weak the genetics of humanity are. In the animal kingdom, in the wild, you don't see what we see in humanity. Why? Because they eat according to their design, unless they're in an area where they get to eat garbage from man, then they'll have the same challenges that we do. But so we have to ask ourselves, why do we have so many challenges with teeth? Simple. We're freaking obstructed. And once you remove the obstructions, the teeth will start restoring and regenerating themselves. People freak out on their teeth when they're fasting because they get some changes. And do your teeth detox? Absolutely. We went through this many times. People freak out, but when you're going on a deep fast, especially a long digestive, whatever your master fast, you're going to see your teeth detox. The teeth are going to go through many changes. And I remember when I started, I decided I was going to do the raw foods only, and of course I was fasting, but all my teeth became loose, and that lasted. It was like about a year, and then they just got all very much more stronger after that.
Yeah, I can tell you right now.
So when I would clamp down on my teeth, I could feel the move in the gums, and I was going, "What the hell's going on?" And I didn't get scared. It's just part of the process. I embraced it, and I just did more work, with the teeth, but. The treatment things are only to assist of the real work, right? The fasting. And so the teeth is, there's lots of things you can do, chewing wild greens and herbs is a major thing. Don't ever brush your teeth after eating fruit. You can brush them before, but not after. And minimize your meals. If you're eating fruit all day and you're not used to that, you're going to see challenges coming forth. Even some people drinking the juice, if you feel it's giving you a challenge, use a straw. There's many things we can do, but don't blame the sugars in the fruits and all that. That's absolute nonsense. That means all the primates that eat only fruit would have no teeth. Like, it's absolutely ludicrous that people actually believe that fruit destroys teeth. like the answers are in plain sight. If you don't want to see them, that's okay. You know, the primates would have no teeth. They thrive. They have beautiful teeth. Are they pearly whites?
Yeah,
Not all. Not all primates have pearly whites. Some of them are yellow.
I can
And
tell
they're
you.
strong. You know,
I can tell you after 5 years, definitely my teeth are much stronger when I'm fasting. When I go on a period of eating every day, they suffer. Like you can feel your gums are more inflamed and your teeth are not happy. I go back on a longer fast or like one of the levels, and clean up my diet, and everything gets back to normal, like more balanced, stronger than ever. Like really, absolutely no problem whatsoever with the teeth. My teeth are like darker, but I think if I use this, I don't use it all the time. I don't use it every day, but if I use this every day, I believe the color will go back to its original.
um, I never drank urine. Just saying. A lot of people claim, you know, rinsing their mouth with urine helps their teeth. I don't know. I don't think I do that anymore. I've already been there, done that with the urine thing. The urine, you can use it making pain pads and mixing it with always the CO2 because it brings the balance back. Because what the body's getting rid of. Yeah, it does have the information of the body, but the reason the body's getting rid of it is because there's an imbalance in that substance that it's releasing. Otherwise, it wouldn't get rid of it. So, but you can use it, you can make pain pads, you mix it 50-50 with CO2 GANs, and then you make pain pads, you know, put a small one and a big one, and you get the fields to do the work. You don't have to use the physicality of it to get the fields because it's in a GAN state, the urine, right? So there's that,
But Josh, Paula, I keep thinking that you two look particularly beautiful tonight. Thank you for everything you share and being such an amazing.
Thank you, Paula. One day will we get to see what you look like?
Yeah.
I am sure just gorgeous.
Send me a photo.
Okay. Elaine.
Some people don't want to be in the public. That's okay. We still love you. Elaine, do you remember going to the dentist for cleaning? If so, how often? Whenever you feel like you need to go. I wouldn't go as often as they claim, like every 6 months, I think they're saying. Sometimes I hear people saying even more than that. Once or
don't.
twice a year would be more than enough
I think the last
if you
time.
feel you need it.
I think the last time for me was maybe 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years. I think it's been for me at least
It's a
a couple
long
of
time.
years. Some people are very fanatic to have pearly whites, right? Going in this lifestyle myself, I never really had pearly whites like some people have, but my teeth did get darker, and other people have gone through that too. When fasting, they started freaking out, but
The first year.
their teeth became way stronger, and they're thinking about vanity versus what's the real normal of the color of the teeth. And there's some research that shows that the whiter the teeth, the weaker they are. So it correlates with what we're finding through our experience. So, you know, don't freak out on the color so much, you know.
Most people who have white teeth, in my opinion, do the treatments.
Yeah, they're
Which
bleaching
really
and all kinds of things.
weakens your teeth.
And it's going to weaken, and then you start fasting, you're going to see that all coming to the surface, and then you're going to blame the fasting for your freaking teeth. The fats is what destroyed my teeth. By far, fats was the biggest contributor to destroying my teeth. Okay, raw fats and
Like
vegan
raw
and so
vegan.
on and so forth, raw. So people claim
Other-
that fats heal their teeth. Okay.
Hold on.
You can't donate blood like 24 hours after having any kind of even a cleaning, any kind of dental procedure. Is
Really?
it? Yeah. It like loosen. I mean, it's gonna send all that junk. A lot of it's gonna go in the bloodstream. Get moved out.
Interesting.
Even-
Well, it is the
even-
sewer system, so
Even just cleaning? Even just cleaning?
Yeah.
Wow.
interesting. I never gave blood, so I don't know.
No, I mean, but I learned about this recently.
Patricia, is it a dead tooth? Don't you have to you've taken it out, Rana? Yeah, it is a dead tooth. They've killed the nerve, right? But she decided to take it out. But I'm saying I wouldn't. That would not be my first thing to do to a root canal. Yeah, many people have problems with root canals, but why are they having problems with root canal? Is it because of the root canal or is it something else? It's not because of the root canal. The root canal, yeah, was after they destroyed their health and put themselves in an imbalanced state, and that's why they had problem with the teeth. And then the dentist suggested to do a root canal, which is the worst thing you can do to your tooth.
But you know what? I feel better after taking it out. Would I have changed my mind knowing what I know now? I don't know. I feel better, and
I've heard of
like-
people regenerating root canal teeth.
yeah. So I guess
Everything's
or
possible.
maybe coming from like even from an extraction, right? You can regenerate.
Yeah, growing back, people have had that. So everything's possible. You really have to be digging very deep, like that. The one breatharian, what's his name?
Victor Trevino.
Triviano, he grew a whole new set of teeth
A
after he
third.
stopped drinking liquids. Think about that. Only after he stopped drinking
They all
liquids.
fell off, all of them, and then he started having extreme pain. And he went to the dentist, and he saw a third set was coming.
It took him
he had the X-rays,
7-8 months process
and then
of severe pain, his teeth falling out and new ones growing in.
And now his teeth look picture
Perfect teeth.
Yeah.
They weren't perfect before, but they're perfect now. There's many mastocysts have gone through fungus toenails completely fallen off, and brand new ones perfectly growing in, and many other things, bone straightening out, and this and that, nerves regenerating, and the list goes on. Teeth is a big challenge, but people have little patience. You know, it may take years, you know, for us to see some more stuff in the teeth area, magic happening. But our teeth are in a very poor condition generally for as humanity. You know, look at how many dentists there are, and that'll give you an idea of the condition of our teeth. There's a dentist in every block over here. My teeth are in great condition, just worried about the root canal. Missed that one. Lots of info that say root canal teeth cause many health problems. Yeah, that's what we talked about, is bacteria, constant. That's why I said, you know, work in the area, continue to massage the area, essential oils, work with that tooth. But like I said, that's what I would do. I would try and save the tooth. If you feel it's giving you a problem, the reason you want to massage it daily, because if there's any kind of things happening, you can't feel it through the tooth because the tooth is dead. But if you start massaging the area, you may be able to feel something's going on, maybe a little infection or something. And so you can be more in tune with it because the nerve's gone. But, you know, why can't it regenerate? Why can't it? People growing thyroids back, nerves being regenerated, and appendixes growing back and stuff like that. Livers regenerating, lungs regenerating, every organ regenerates. So, you know, nerves can regenerate. I can't see why not.
My teeth are in great condition. Just worried about this root canal.
Yeah, you know, just one tooth root canal. I'd keep it and work with it. If it, like I said, if it goes, you've been here a while, Patricia. So if you know, feel that for some reason that, you know, you can't work with that tooth, then yeah, you can make the decision to pull it out. But
That's fine.
it's not nice losing teeth.
Sabrina, there is an amazing dentist in Montreal that is strictly holistic, Dr. Carl Benoit. Yeah, I went to a holistic myself to remove the root canal here in Toronto. And yeah, he's an older guy. I don't know if he's still working. But yeah, there are a few.
Yeah, there's some holistic dentists around. Pulling a tooth, I don't know what the difference is going to be there. You know, if you fast, you pull it out, the body heals. If you're going to be doing work with the teeth, yeah, definitely go with a more holistic one. And if they have ozone, it really helps. Inject ozone before they do the work, and then have them inject the ozone after. Like I just had one of my fillings that, you know, 30 years almost 30 years. I did and broke. I had to go do it. And it was like I was dry fasting. It was like I didn't even have any dental work done. It was a few hours of discomfort and gone. But I didn't get any needle for the pain. I did it, just got into a meditative state. And you feel pain, yeah, but you just tune it out, and all is well. Because anytime you put that stuff in, you got to detox it out, and it's these things are nasty. But if you can't handle the pain, yeah, just remember you got to fast it out. And sometimes you get healing reactions getting that stuff out of you. It's nasty. All these sedatives are nasty. The body holds on to these things for a long time. So yeah, wow, we're already at 10 o'clock.
Do a
Time
prayer?
flies. Huh?
Quick prayer, maybe?
Time flies.
Yeah, I can go all night because I enjoy it, but we can't.
Yeah.
It gets a bit long, but a couple hours together is wonderful. Every week, and we continue going. All is well. So I don't know, quick meditation or quick prayer.
Whatever. Whichever.
We can go through a quick meditation. I think we'll do maybe 3 breaths per chakra or something, just to get through. If we think about, there's no time space. Does the length of the meditation matter if you have all your intent and emotion into it? And that's the way we have to start thinking, because the yoga as well. I cut my yoga back to like about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And, before doing the hour in the class and so on and so forth. It's wonderful to do the long, especially when you're with people and stuff. But on my own, with that, I can maintain my, my physical strength and so on and so forth with very, very little time. I'm just going through the motions a little more quicker than we would normally do. And, if you have the time, put the time and effort in. It's all good, every which way, whatever works for you. All is well. Nice to see both of you, from Patricia. Nice to see you. So get comfortable in your chair, close your eyes, get your hands comfortable in whatever mudra you like. The tongue and the roof of the mouth, or roll it back, suck on your tongue. And just cycle the breaths from the bottom of the spine, going up on the inhale to the top of the head. On the exhale, bring the breath down around the groin, back to the tailbone, and cycle it again and do that. Let's do that a few times. Inhale up through the spine, exhale down the front. Inhale up through the spine, exhale down the front. Inhale up through the spine, exhale down the front. Excuse me. Let's bring the focus down to the area below the belly button. A few nice, deep, but low volume breaths, meaning as we take the breath in, drive it deep into the groin area, get it way down, but very low volume. With each breath, we bring balance to that area. Keep the focus sharp. If the mind wanders, just bring it back. bring the attention down to the genitals. For the men, testes. For the women, ovaries. You focus in the genital area. With each breath, we feel more and more balance being restored. The body becomes more and more relaxed. So move the attention down a little to the perineum between the anus and the genitals. Very powerful energy center. With each breath, more and more balance is restored. This is an area where you can bring much balance and strength if you focus on tensing that area when you're doing yoga or any exercise. The vortex of energy, the perineum and the top of the head, and all the chakras, of course. Let's move the attention to the tailbone, tip of the tailbone. With each breath, more and more balance is restored. The lower chakras are what keeps us grounded. We can ground ourselves mentally through meditation. Many people don't ever touch the earth with their bare feet. Let's move up the spine to the area between the two kidneys, the king and queen, with the adrenals as their crowns. The female and male energy, they work together. Left side is female, I believe, on male. And then for women, it's opposite. two little vital organs are just amazing. When we can open them up by moving out the obstructions in that area, you'll see everything changes in the physicality. Your energy goes up as your body starts regenerating, restoring itself. MFS cracked the code on kidney filtration. Let's move up the spine to the area between the shoulder blades. This is another area we hold a lot of obstructions. Carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. When we raise our field strength, it'll feel like a feather because the positioning maintains itself irrelevant to any physical weight. This is why we see people growing, spine expanding. Here goes the gravity theory. It's like, how does the water flow up a tree? Move up the spine a little to the atlas, the area where the skull sits on the spine. With each breath, we bring balance back to that area. Wonderful, peaceful. Let's move up to the top of the head, center of the skull, 1,000-point junction. Another very powerful vortex sits there. Let's move the attention to the third eye, center of the forehead. Our truth vision. With each breath, we bring balance to that area. Let's move down to the voice box, the throat, thyroid area. We must speak our truth. With each breath, we bring balance to that area. And we move down to the heart. Strongest fields here. This is how we can affect and change all of humanity through the fields of the heart. Sending out plaf to all the leaders of the world as we elevate their souls to peace, balance, correct conduct. That every aspect of their being, if it moves in the opposite direction, will keep them in a miserable physicality. Their only choice is peace, balance, and correct conduct. Or they will pay the heavy price of cause and effect, like we all will, if we don't choose to live by the laws of the universe. Let's elevate all the souls of humanity to move in the direction of peace, balance, correct conduct. Let's elevate each other in our own homes to live in peace, balance, correct conduct. No matter how many demons present themselves, no matter how much misinformation to try and steer us in the wrong direction, we keep the faith in divine providence and do the right thing at all costs. Let's elevate the souls of the leaders one more time. All leaders in every single nation on planet Earth. Must uphold the inalienable God-given divine rights that we all have, are born with. Let's move down to the solar plexus. With each breath, we bring more balance to that area. Let's start cycling the breath from the tailbone, going up the spine on the inhale. The exhale, going down the front of the body, back around the groin to the tailbone again. Up the spine to the top of the head. Exhale down the front. Inhale up the spine. Exhale down the front. And let's do the eye thing again. Put the palms in the eye sockets. Firm pressure that you're comfortable with. You want to feel quite a bit of pressure, but don't want to kill yourself. And you should start seeing checkers in light, black and white checkers. Breathe into the eyes. And soon you'll start seeing blue stars. The universe within. It's pretty amazing. If you don't see it, you practice a while, you'll get to see it. And you can massage the eyes while you're at it. Smooth your palms around a little bit. Massage is always great. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Ah, wow. It's even the short ones are nice, but it's like you get in, you just want to keep going. Kind of trying to pull myself back, make it a short one.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. It's always a pleasure to have you guys around.
Thank you, guys.
It's the few of the few. We can make a difference. We have the power within all of us. We each and every one of us has it. So let's stay focused on the lifestyle and what's going on, and we'll continue.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good evening.
We'll
See you
soon.
on the page. See you Wednesday. See you next week. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.